Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach. Shir Torah. We, Baruch Hashem, here at the Aventura Breslov Center again, Baruch Hashem. Today we're going to take a little bit of a break off of the Musar series and talk a little bit more about Purim, Megillat Esther, and so learn some Musar from the story itself. I've been working on a paper about it for a while now. It's not easy because when you write something, it's not like when you talk. And it's a very good idea. And B'ezrat Hashem, we'll try to expand on it tonight. If you have any questions regarding the holiday, this is the time to ask. Also, the shiur will be Refuah Shlema, or to Maribel Medina, and also to Levana Bat Sarah Bat Levana, David Ben Esriya, Doris Bat Jora, Elisheva Chaya Bat Sarah, Dvora Bat Mercedes, and all of Am Yisrael B'ezrat Hashem will have Refuah Shlema, Refuat HaNefesh, and Refuat HaGuf. So, Megillat Esther is a obligation. It's the core obligation of Purim. And if you really think about Purim, it's no different than the mitzvah of mezuzah. And the reason why is mezuzah is one of those mitzvot that has mazal. What's mazal? Mazal meaning that it has success. For the most part, the overwhelming majority of Jews have a mezuzah in their house. Whether they're Orthodox, modern Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Chiloni, secular. Now you have even the Christians that also call themselves Messianics. They have mezuzot, even though their mezuzot are tarif. They have J.C. Penney in there, or they have the cross in their mezuzot. But nonetheless, the whole issue of a mezuzah, it's not one of those mitzvot that you have to convince people to do it. Somebody moves out of their parents' house. Within a very short period of time, they realize, oh, I got to put a mezuzah up. Something bad happens for somebody in the house, even if they don't keep Shabbat, they don't keep kosher, they're married to a non-Jew, they kill people on the side, they kill people in front of everyone, whatever they do. What do they want to do? Kvod Harav, can you check my mezuzot? Well, maybe you check your heart too, though, no? No, mezuzah. I think it's the mezuzah because the IRS came to audit me. They're saying all the money I'm getting from murdering people for the mafia, they say that I'm not paying enough taxes. So maybe you should stop murdering. No, it's the mezuzah. It's pasul. So mezuzah, people hold it in high regards, and it is. We talked about it briefly on Sunday on the series that we're having, amazing questions about God. I showed you guys a Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah that the minhag, the custom of kissing the mezuzah on your way in or on your way out, we actually learned from Onkelos Ager, Onkelos the righteous convert. When the Caesar wanted to arrest him, he sent him his soldiers, and the soldiers saw Onkelos kiss the mezuzah, and they asked him, what is this? Why are you kissing a mezuzah? He says, because your king, he is afraid. So he hides behind the castle, and he sends you to protect him. My king, he's not afraid of anything. I just have to remember that he's there, and he protects me inside the house and outside the house. He said, oh, that? Okay, we want to be Jews too. Your king protects you, we want to be Jews too. They all converted. Baruch Hashem. And we learn this minhag from Onkelos Ager. Now, mezuzah is something huge. Gives you protection in the house, outside of the house. And most Jews do it. Unfortunately, many Jews they know how to spend $500,000 plus on a house, but you tell them that a solid mezuzah is going to cost them $100, $200, $300, they already say you're ganav, you're a thief. You tell them, listen, my mezuzah, my front door is a $5,000 mezuzah. They're like, oh, something's wrong with you. Somebody robbed you. Somebody robbed you. Mezuzah $5,000, somebody robbed you. I said, if I could pay $100,000 for it, I would. And if you wanted to give me $1 million for it, I wouldn't give it to you. $1 million, I wouldn't give it to you. I'm dead serious. Mezuzah, my front door, you give me $1 million for it, I wouldn't give it to you. Cash. I wouldn't give it to you for $1 million. I don't know if you could say, maybe I know a little bit about mezuzah, or maybe I don't know enough and I realize it's worth a lot. Who knows? Either way, you're not buying it. But sometimes people tell me you have some mezuzah, and I tell them, yeah, we can get you mezuzot. I only deal with high quality mezuzot. I don't deal with the stuff that you can get from your local guide for $50, $60. You want a good solid mezuzah, 200, 300, 500, 1,000. Depends how good of a quality you want mezuzah, and that's just for the scroll. The mezuzot that we're giving away to some of our bigger donors, they're $500 mezuzot. Good quality mezuzot. Somebody said, why? My mezuzah is top quality. My rabbi wrote it. It's $70. I said, okay, $70 is $70. What you going to get for $70? Nothing's wrong with it. It's still kosher. Nothing wrong with it. But it's $70. Somebody says, listen, I bought a $250,000 Bentley. I said, oh, $250,000 Bentley might be a good car. I said, I have a $30,000 Hyundai. He said, okay, $30,000 Hyundai. Hopefully you can get here. Oh, no, $30,000 it works. Oh, okay, $250,000 Bentley also works. But $250,000 and Bentley, obviously, everybody knows, Kal Vachomer, it's a better car. Not because of the price, because of the engine. The $500 mezuzah is not because of the price it's better. Somebody could be really a thief and tell you, listen, $1 million mezuzah, and if you're a sucker, you're going to buy it for $1 million. Who knows? It's not because of the $1 million that it's better. It's because of the engine. How is it written? Who wrote it? How did they write it? Are they a kosher person? They have yirat shamayim. They dip in a mikveh before every single letter, or just maybe once in a while. They keep Shabbat bichlal, or is it a computer that wrote it for you? You bought it on eBay. Somebody told me, yeah, I bought my mezuzah for $30 only, kvod harav. It was on eBay. I said, yeah, the computer made a 100% profit on that. A computer wrote the mezuzah. I said, I'll be surprised if it's actually even a klaf, meaning it's an actual scroll. Be surprised. He goes, why wouldn't it be? I said, for $35? I think just the scroll will cost that much. He checked the mezuzah. He says, yeah, you're right. It's just a piece of paper. But the house, he says, the house of the mezuzah, the casing, he said, I spent $250 on that. I said, you should have switched it. $30 on the casing, $250 on the mezuzah. But either way, Rabotai, laugh as much as we want. The reality is, Am Yisrael loves the mitzvah of mezuzah. Loves it. Loves it. It's a good mitzvah. It's easy mitzvah. But I'm telling you that Purim, they love even more. Purim. They love even more. And the reason why is if you think about it, 2,500 years ago, Megillat Purim, the event of Megillat Purim happened. Am Yisrael was in danger. AchashveRosh, Yimach Shimo v'Zichro, agreed with HaMan, Yimach Shimo v'Zichro as well. Got paid cash, a down payment of $384 million, 10,000 kikarei zahav, kikarei kesef. I said 334 the other day, it's actually 384. $384 million worth of silver. And for that he agreed. And if you look at chapter 7 of the Megillah, after they agreed, what do? L'chaim. What do you mean? You just agreed to mass murder an entire people. Millions and millions of people. Millions of people are going to die right now. They're going to die. Hashem Hashem. You just signed off. You got $384 million. Chazaku Baruch, but that $384 million is a down payment to go kill millions and millions of people, tens of millions of people. You don't have a little bit of safek in your heart. You don't have a little bit of like, you know what? Some of them are going to be babies. What do they do? Me skinning the babies. Some of them are going to be little children playing in a playground. What do they do to little children me skinning? Some of them are going to be women, nice women, tzadikot. What do they do me skinning tzadikot? Some of them are going to be talmidei chachamim, anashim tovim, good people. What do they do to you? You're going to go kill them? In mitah meshunah, in a strange, unusual death? Hang them, put them on crosses, cut them up, sell them in the market. What are you going to do to them? And all you can say is lechaim. That's it. Chaim. You don't have a little bit of safek, a little bit of like, you know what? Poor people. Lechaim. This is how, you know what? Do the lechaim. But poor people. Tough for them. Nothing. Not a bone in your body feels bad a little bit. HaMan, we know he was the Amalek. It's in his bones, not in his blood, in his bones. In his bones, he hated Am Yisrael. That's in his bones. He's created like that. AchashveRosh, on the other hand, okay, the Gemara says in Masechet Megillah, page 12, that he was a bigger anti-Semite than HaMan. But why? And even if you're anti-Semite, like many of the anti-Semites all over America today, Hashem Achem, even if you hate them, don't you feel bad when you see somebody bleeding all over the floor? Even if it's not your people. Even if you don't like him. You don't feel a little bad? Are you that much of a behemah? Are you that much of an animal? Were you a lion in the middle of the jungle on the Discovery Channel chasing a gazelle? You don't feel bad? Nothing? L'chaim? And as a side note, for all of you who are enjoying America, like the rest of us, America is changing. America is changing no different than Shushan changed. No different than Spain changed. No different than Germany changed. An article came out in the LA Times, not that I read the papers often unless it's something critical, was sent to me, that they did a research, and of course this is politically motivated in order to pin everything on Donald Trump, with or without the politics, the reality speaks volumes. And they say that the anti-Semitism in America, our ally, has increased by over 110% in the last year. 110% in the last year. We're not talking about, you know what? Last year they killed 3 people. This year they're going to kill 3.1. Last year there was 100 graves destroyed. This year 101. It's 1%, it happens. Over 100% increase in anti-Semitism in America. Already the last report that came out said that over 40% of Americans declare themselves openly as anti-Semitic. Now if you do the math, 40% is like a small number. You're like, at least 60% like us. Come on, Kvod Harav, look at the cup half full. Why are you so negative? Why are you so negative all the time? 60% like us. No, 40% admit. We don't know about the other 60%. But what does 40% actually mean? 40%. What does it mean, 40%? America has approximately 400 million people. 400 million people. 40% is exactly 160 million people. 160 million people that live in the number one ally of Israel hate Israel. Meaning, 10 times the amount of the Jewish population hate them. Just here. We're not talking about the Arabs, 2 billion of them. We're not talking about all the other countries in Europe and so on and so forth. We're talking about just here. But moving to Israel is not so easy. Eventually it's going to become easy. Because we're not going to have a choice. We're not going to have a choice. I'll be honest with you. I enjoy the convenience of America as much as you do. We talked about Aliyah. We talk about it a lot. Going, staying. I have a little bit of a different dilemma than most people because of what we do, because of the kiruv. The work we do is much more necessary here than it is in Israel. There's many rabbis that do kiruv in Israel. There's very few in America, even though there's many rabbis, there's very few that actually do kiruv. There's very few that actually tell the truth. And realistically speaking, most of the people are online anyway. So even that is not as great an argument as it was a few years ago. But anyway, still we debate. Do you want to go? Do you want to stay? Do you want to go? Do you want to stay? And you start thinking about the logistics of moving. And this is musar to myself, it has nothing to do with you. And I have to be honest with you, this is a rebuke on myself, because this was actually on the list at one point. So you have a lot of conveniences in America. Most of us don't realize these conveniences. Like, for example, internet. Internet is standard in America. High-speed internet, not dial-up. High-speed internet is standard in America. If you don't have high-speed internet in America, you're probably living in, your neighbor is a cow, your next-door neighbor is maybe a cow's friend, and the next-door neighbor for that is a cow's cousin, But in reality, most of America, you have high-speed internet, especially in the cities. In Israel, it's not everywhere. They have internet, but it's not high-speed, and for what I do, I need it. That's a convenience that's very necessary. Where I want to live in Israel doesn't actually have it. It's a problem. You know what the other inconvenience is? Amazon. You're laughing at me, but you all know it's exactly true for you too. I'm not the only Rasha. Amazon. Why? Because I don't like to leave the house. Only time I leave the house is an emergency. What's an emergency? Go save Am Yisrael or go do groceries for my wife. That's it. That's an emergency. Other than that, I'm not leaving the house. And even the groceries, Baruch Hashem, we already set up a situation where I don't really have to go 90% of the time. Other than that, I don't leave the house. I don't leave the house. Why? What am I going to go see? Everyone's naked. Whoever's not naked is probably trying to do something wrong anyway. What are you going to go? What are you going to do outside the house? A nice woman sends me an email today. I don't take this the wrong way. This is the truth. She said, Haredi. Hopefully she's watching this. Haredi, very zealous. Keeps Torah, mitzvot, no questions, in a Jewish community, actually here in Florida. And she says to me, me and the girls decided to go out to celebrate some birthday and have a dinner together, and went to so-and-so restaurant, and I noticed that the restaurant doesn't have the same kashrut as what I believe is acceptable. I'll leave out the rest of the details. The point is, it's acceptable, not acceptable. We have to double check that. We can't just believe people's opinions. But the whole time I'm reading this story, I'm thinking, okay, Baruch Hashem, she's actually one of the few people in the world that actually cares about kashrut. What kind of kashrut? Why? Most of us, you want to go to a restaurant, all you care is that there's a K on the door. If there's a K on the door, I'm eating anything that moves. Anything that moves, I'm eating. If it doesn't move, I'm eating it too. I'm going to get 2 meals. If it has a kosher on the door, I'm eating it. You don't care which rabbi, which mashgiach, which rabbanut, you don't care. Why? It's kosher. It's very different in Israel, by the way. There's rabbanut, and then there's the badatz, the higher level. There's levels of kosher. And then there is somebody selling kosher food, but he's not kosher. Why? The food's kosher, but he's not kosher. So the restaurant's not kosher. If he doesn't keep Shabbat, he doesn't get a kosher certification. In America, it's very different. Anyone that's willing to sell kosher food is kosher. It's a problem. It's a problem. Sometimes even the food's not kosher and the people are not kosher. Nothing's kosher, but they say kosher. Like we found out a month ago in this other restaurant in Florida. But anyway, she sends me, listen, I saw this restaurant, it didn't have the kosher certification that it used to have, and I'm having doubts, and I tried to tell my girlfriends, maybe we shouldn't eat here, we should go somewhere else. There's so many choices, Baruch Hashem. There's no end to the kosher restaurants, Baruch Hashem. You can find one in every corner in Florida. It's not like a Delaware farm over there where the only kosher is what you're going to slaughter. You have, Baruch Hashem, you have a lot. Said, let's go find a place that's more kosher, according to her opinion. Because, da-da-da. And she got very upset when they ignored everything she said. Said, listen, this is a good place, we're going to eat, da-da-da. Now I'm trying to respond to her question, because she's very upset. So first and foremost, you cannot rebuke people if you're upset. By default. Why? The mitzvah in the book of Leviticus says, Ocheach tocheach et amitecha v'lo tisa alav chet. You must rebuke your brother, but don't come to sin. What does it mean? Don't sin because of the rebuke. How could I sin? I'm telling him to keep Shabbat. How could I sin? I'm telling him to keep mitzvot. How could I sin? I'm telling him to stop eating taref. No? It's mitzvah. No, it's not mitzvah automatically. Why? If you're angry, it's not a mitzvah. Why? Mitzvah, the Gemara says, Masechet Shabbat. Anger, Masechet Shabbat says, is the equivalent of Avodah Zarah. Anger, being angry, is the equivalent of Avodah Zarah. Idol worship. Like you just went to Chinatown, bought a statue for $15, and started praying to it. Like the people in India, every time a cow passes the road, they all stop. And they do Avodah Zarah. What? You got angry? You threw a remote across the room. You got angry. You yelled at your wife. You yelled at your husband. You yelled at... Avodah Zarah. Big deal. Why? All of us do it. All of us get angry. It's a problem. But the Torah says, not just don't angry. Specifically when you're rebuking. Specifically when you're rebuking, don't get angry. Why? Then it's not a mitzvah. Then the rebuke is not going to work. The rebuke is not going to work if you are angry. Why? He's just thinking, why is this guy telling me what to do? Why is he telling me what to do? Who is he to tell me what to do? Instead of actually listening to what you're saying, you know what, maybe she's right, it's not kosher enough. You know what, maybe she's right, I shouldn't have a wig. You know what, he's right, maybe I should keep Shabbat. You know what, he's right, maybe I should leave the Goya, I should leave the Goya. You're right. I mean, instead of thinking about what you're saying, they're thinking, why is he yelling at me? Who does he think he is? Who does he think he is to yell at me? I know more than him, I'm more than him. Now it becomes personal. Anyone want pizza? Rafael, God bless him, gave you guys pizza, you can eat it. Just make sure to, if you're going to eat it, you have to do netilat yadayim. Otherwise, you just wait till the end of the shiur, but you should eat it, no problem, I don't get offended. He brought it for you, you can eat it. So, anyway, ocheach tocheach et amitecha, first and foremost, don't get angry. If you get angry, it's not a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah to rebuke if you're angry. You could look angry, like me, I look angry all the time, by nature. My nature, I look angry all the time. My wife always tells me, why? People are always scared of you. I said, yeah, why? I'm such a jolly guy. She goes, you're the scariest guy in the world. I said, me, I'm scary? She goes, you look scary. By default, I look scary, she tells me, by default. But if you actually get to know, I'm not so scary. By my nature, I guess I look scary. You could look scary. You could even look angry. But you cannot be angry. If you're angry, no mitzvah. Mitzvah, toilet paper, used. No mitzvah. No mitzvah if you're angry. No mitzvah. Number one. Number two, you can't just assume certain things. You have to have proof. In Judaism, we work based off of proofs. Not based off of hearsay. Not based off, oh, he said, she said, maybe, yes. No. We work off of proof. Before we go and we say, listen, this guy, him and his shul and his kashrut and everything about him is taref, we have to have 100% proof. Not even 99% is enough. Before I went and I started telling you guys about Goldberg and his clan of missionaries, we tried everything we could to stop it privately. Even before we tried to stop it, we tried verifying if it's even true b'chlal. Because why would an Orthodox Dayan, why would he bring the #1 missionary in the world to a shul? I mean, it's something, you don't have to be smart. HaMan from Gehenom is saying this guy's an idiot. HaMan was screaming, listen, this guy said he should be right next to me. This guy's an idiot. So you don't have to. So I said, no, it couldn't be true that you're bringing a missionary to shul. So I double checked, bring in a missionary. I checked, I took, bring in a missionary. Then I said, okay, maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he doesn't know it's a missionary. So I asked him, you know it's a missionary? Yeah, no, but he's not going to talk about it. I said, what do you mean he's not going to talk about it? What do you mean he's not going to talk about it? What is he going to talk about? Purpose of life. I'm going to learn the purpose of life from a Catholic missionary. HaMan is laughing. He's laughing his butt off in Gehenom. He's laughing, come on, no, bo. Come on, I'm waiting for you. The villa is right next to me. He's waiting for you. This guy I have a villa for you, he's telling me. So I said, okay, maybe he just doesn't see right, doesn't see left. So I start giving him Torah proofs. I'm giving a Dayan that's supposed to know the Torah by heart. Torah proofs, he's not allowed to do it. What does he do? Control-Alt-Delete. You know what Control-Delete is? He restarts the computer just pretty much like he has no interest whatsoever in talking to me. Everything doesn't even go from one ear to the other, because if it goes from one ear to the other, a little bit is left. When something goes one ear out the other, a little bit of left, a little bit of the remnants are left. Nothing. It doesn't even go one ear. Rejects everything that I say. We tried this, we tried a few other things. Long story short, before we came out and started saying, Rabotai, there's a very, very big ason about to happen, a very big danger, disaster about to happen. Before that, we had to double check, we had to verify, we had to confirm. You can't just say, oh, listen, this guy looks not kosher, therefore he's not kosher. He looks like HaMan, therefore he's HaMan. Because sometimes the person looks like HaMan, but he's Mordechai. Sometimes a person looks like HaMan, on the exterior. Why? He's wearing a t-shirt. He doesn't have a kippah. Or sometimes he has a kippah, it's like on the side, like it's falling off all the time. Like that's the style now sometimes. Some people have the kippah on the side. I don't know why. It seems so uncomfortable, but it's on the side. Like you know that back in the day, when I was young, the style was to have your hat backwards, or like the side. You know, as a little kid, it was backwards. Then I grew up, and the hat would be to the side, like this. Like you have to wear it to like the side. Like if you wear it straight, like you're supposed to wear a hat, something's wrong with you. You have to wear it to the side. So people wear the kippah to the side like this. It's like falling off. He looks like HaMan. He looks like he's a pretend. But then you start talking to him, tzaddik. You start talking to him, you actually hear about some of the maasim that he's doing, some of the things he's doing, tzaddik. Supports Kiruv, helps people keep Shabbat, so on and so forth. Baruch Hashem, he's Mordechai. So looks can be deceiving. So you can't just pretend, listen, I know. You don't know, you have to double check. So I said this first thing is, you can't be angry. Second thing is, Lashon Hara. You can't just say such and such about certain people if you don't know for sure. No, but I heard from so-and-so. Heard from so-and-so is not enough in Judaism. We're not the newspaper. We're not journalists. We don't just write a story based on assumptions. That's not how Judaism is. Why? People's lives are in risk. You're destroying somebody's reputation and might as well just murder him. But that's the answer that I gave her. But between you and me, and hopefully she hears this, because she hears some of my shulim, and some of her friends also hear my shulim, the whole time I'm thinking something completely different. I don't take it the wrong way. This is a myth. The whole time, okay, that's the answer. Everything I just said to you. But it's not really the answer. It's the answer, but it's not really the answer. What's the answer? The answer is a question. What's the question? What are you doing with a bunch of girls going out at night to a restaurant? That's the answer. What are you doing? Don't you have kids at home? Don't you have a husband at home? What are you doing going out at night with a bunch of girls? What's going to come out of it? Happy birthday to you. You know who they celebrate happy birthday to? Paro and Nebuchadnezzar. That's the only two people that had birthday parties, by the way. In the entire Torah. Two people had birthday parties, Paro and Nebuchadnezzar. Second of all, what's going to happen at night? What's going to happen at night? Why are you going out with girls at night? What's going to happen? Who's out at night? Wolves are out at night. Guys that don't care if you're married or you're not married are out at night. Non-kosher things happen at night. What are you doing as a kosher woman going out at night? No, I was just out with my friends. I know that's what they're going to tell me. I was just out with my friends. What's the big deal? We just wanted to eat. Eat at home. Oh, I want to hang out with my friends. Bring them to your house. And even that, not so much. Why? The reality is, Rabotai, is that women love to speak almost as much as I like to speak. And if you're speaking to one-on-one with a person, it's good. Maybe you can have some chizuk. But you have a group of women, it's very, very difficult. Why? 99% of the conversation is lashon hara. 99% of the conversation is complete nonsense. That's the reality. How do I know? Girls tell me. The women tell me all the time. It's like, oh yeah, I went out, I regret it. I went with my friends, I regret it. All they talked about is this one and that one and this one and that one. It's a story after story after story for years. I'm hearing this. Same thing. Secular world, religious world, it's the same thing. So what's going to come out of it? A kosher Jewish woman does not go out at night. She doesn't go out at night. You want to go out at night? Go out with your husband. Husband, no problem. Go out as much as you want. Enjoy the marriage. Enjoy each other. No problem. You have no problem going out if that's what you want to do with your life. Fine, no problem. As long as it doesn't get in the way of you raising your kids. As long as it doesn't get in the way of you being a mom, of your husband learning Torah and so on. No problem. But having girls' nights out is only a modern thing, Rabotai. Our grandparents did not do such a thing. Our grandparents did not go out with the girls. They didn't have girls' nights out. They didn't have guys' nights out. This is not just for women. It's also for men. This whole night out thing, let's go have a bunch of drinks together as the guys. That was not one of the things we do on a regular basis. Maybe you have a drink as siyum masechet. You finish a masechet, you finish a Gemara tractate. You want to have a drink, l'chaim, no problem. Maybe there's a mesibah, a little celebration for marriage, a little celebration for bar mitzvah. Specific events that are rare and not often, fine. But just a night out once a week or twice a month or whatever it is, this is Maaseh Goyim. This is not the way Am Yisrael acts. This is not what we do. And that's really the whole story of Purim. The whole story of Purim started with us trying to be Goyim. The whole story started with us trying to be Goyim. AchashveRosh had a party. He said, no, you're going to come to the party? No, I'm Jewish. Okay, so what's the problem if you're Jewish? Come to the party. No, we can only drink kosher wine. Kosher wine will give you the best kind. How many you want? No, but we only eat kosher Chinese food. Okay, no problem. Give you Chinese food. No problem. No, but we only have gefilte fish, kosher. Oh, no problem. All right, what else do you have? What else do you want? Come. Just come. Kosher pizza, I'm coming. We went to the party of the non-Jews. Even though the greatest among us, Mordechai Yehudi, said don't go. Mordechai Yehudi said don't go. But we went. Why? Because Jews are not supposed to fraternize with Goyim. Not because they're bad people. Some of them are wonderful. Some of them are even better than some Jews. I know some Goyim that are much better than most Jews. Not some, most. Bemet, some of them must treasures. Treasures. But still, to go to wedding parties and this party and that party and get-togethers and dinners with the non-Jews, that's not what we do. Why? We have to remain separate. We have to remain separate. As a nation, we have to remain separate simply because we don't want to have anyone think, not from the Jewish side and not from the non-Jewish side, that it's okay for our children to get married. We never want anyone from either side to think that it's okay to behave like the other. Just like the non-Jew is not allowed to keep Shabbat, the Jew is not allowed to violate Shabbat. Same thing. You don't want any confusion. There's enough confusion already in the world. And because we didn't feel like this was a relevant mitzvah already, 2,500 years ago, only 1,000 years after we got Torah, Hashem said, okay, time for a wake-up call. And he almost brought the Holocaust because of it. But as you read the Megillah, you'll see that this Megillah is full of miracles. We call them coincidences. Because it's not like Yetziat Mitzrayim, where in Egypt Hashem split the ocean after we left Egypt, or he turned the water into blood, the blood into water, the frogs came in, frogs left, animals from the North Pole came and started killing Egyptians, but they didn't kill Jews. Ice and fire and the same thing. I mean, a lot of things that are beyond nature. There were no such open miracles. But countless coincidences that are really miracles happened to Am Yisrael throughout all of Purim, throughout this entire story, and saved Am Yisrael from a potential Holocaust. Because when HaMan wrote a check, he then decided, no, check, maybe he's not going to believe me, so let me just give him the cash. He brought the cash with him. He's like, hey, listen, when somebody sees the cash, already that's half an agreement. If you just show somebody the money, it's already half the agreement. Then, okay, now what you want to say? Now I'll listen to you. Now that you brought the money, now it's half the agreement already. He brought the money with him. He gave him the money, and then he said, L'chaim. He didn't think about the fact that he's about to kill millions and millions of people. He didn't care about the fact that he may be married to a Jew. He didn't think about the fact that they don't deserve it, really. He didn't think about any of this stuff. Why? Cash. But countless miracles happened, Rabotai Karim, that saved us from a potential Holocaust. This potential Holocaust was 1,000 years approximately before the founding of Germany, and almost 2,000 years before the founding of the Nazi Party. Meaning, 2,000 years before the real Holocaust of Hitler, that actually happened in Machshimo v'Zichro, where he killed 6 million of our brothers and sisters, we avoided a potential Holocaust that would have actually been worse. These miracles is a story we hear every year. The story is a story we hear every year. The holiday of Purim is relatively not obligatory. It doesn't obligate you to do much. It's a very, very few mitzvot you have to do. Each person has to give 2 mishloach manot. Mishloach manot is a meal. You have to give 2 meals to another person. Not to the same person, because he's hungry, you give him 2 meals. 2 different people. 2 different people, you have to give him mishloach manot. Mishloach manot means he has to be able to do significant brachot. So if you're giving him just a basket full of candy, that's not mishloach manot. It's nice, he'll say thank you, and he'll give it to his kids, or maybe he'll be like me and eat it himself, but it's not mishloach manot. Mishloach manot can have the candy, but it has to have something significant that could be considered a meal. A meal has what? Either mezonot or lechem, mezonot or bread. So it could be wafers, it could be cake, it could be cookies, or it could be a challah bread. Or if you know him really well and he trusts you, you can make him a sandwich. Most people today don't do it anymore because they don't trust each other. That's the reality. They don't trust each other. They don't trust that, number one, your food is kosher, but even more so, they don't trust that your food is tasty, so they're just going to throw it out in the garbage. Why? They go to a restaurant for $10 to buy a better sandwich. They know for sure it's good. So if you're going to buy him something, have something that's wrapped. Wrapped cake, wrapped, like individually wrapped cakes, individually wrapped bread, something like that. And obviously it has to have a kosher sign visible on it. And a drink. And you can add the candies if you want. Each person has to do 2 of those. So husband and wife have to give, you give to 2 men as the husband, And the wife has to give to 2 women. Not the woman gives to a man and the man gives to a woman, chas v'shalom. It's not modest. It's not modest. No, but he's my friend since high school. Okay. Once you get married, he's no longer your friend. There's no such thing as platonic relationships in Judaism. So, first mitzvah. Second mitzvah, matanot le'evyonim. You have to give money to the poor. Each person has to give the value of 2 meals. Each meal, let's say, is $10. You have to give $20. If you know poor people, to give it to them. If the poor people happen to be Jewish, great. If the poor people happen to be Talmidei Torah, wow, that's me'udal. That's like the $1 million mezuzah. There's the homeless guy, local homeless guy. That's a mitzvah. That's like the mezuzah. That's, good. It's kosher. $50. Then there is a Jew. That, Chazaku Baruch, that's a mezuzah. It's $150. But if it's a Talmid Torah, that's meudah. It's $1 million mezuzah. Why? His whole life is Torah. Anyone knows Talmidei Chachamim, people that learn Torah, you give it to them. If you don't know them, you can give it to Bezrat Hashem. We're giving it to Talmidei Chachamim in Yerushalayim. We have a few people that gave, we gave, and so on and so forth. It's part of what we do anyway. But anyone that wants to give to Talmidei Chachamim, we have people that we know in Yerushalayim that are real Talmidei Chachamim that we're going to send it to. So each person has to give 2 of these meals. $20. Third mitzvah is machatzit shekel, which we talked about already on Rosh Chodesh. Each person has to give the equivalent of machatzit shekel, which is $5.50. I did the math. Machatzit shekel is $5.50 this year. Each year it changes because it's based on the value of silver. The next mitzvah is to hear the Megillah. The Megillah reading is read twice. First on the eve of Purim, which is tomorrow night. And the second is the next morning. So obviously if you have kids, you can't go with your wife unless you have a babysitter. So what my wife and I do is usually most Batei Knesset have 2 readings. 2 readings at night, 2 readings in the morning. So I go to the first reading or second one, whichever one it is. I go to one reading, and then I come home and I watch the kids, and she goes to the second reading, or vice versa. Usually I go to the second reading because it's later at night, and I'd rather her be home earlier. And I watch the kids. Same thing the next day. Both men and women are obligated to hear the Megillah. Now you're going to ask, wait a minute, isn't there a rule in Judaism that women are not obligated to fulfill mitzvot that are bound to time? For example, tefillin. Women are not obligated to lay tefillin. Why? Because it's bound to time. You have to do it at a specific time during the day. Prayer every day. Men are obligated to do it 3 times a day. Women only once a day. Which one? Whichever one they want. Whichever prayer they want. They want to pray shachit, pray shachit. You want to pray mincha, pray mincha. You want to pray arvit, pray arvit. But you don't have to pray all of them, and you don't have to pray any one specific. You just pick whichever one you want. Just pray once a day. That's the obligation, halacha, for women. Men, on the other hand, 3 times a day. Why? It's bound to time. Bound to time. And many other mitzvot that men do are bound to time, and therefore women are not obligated to do them. There are only a couple of mitzvot that are bound to time that women are obligated to observe. One of them is Shabbat. Why? Shabbat is for all of Judaism. Someone that does not keep Shabbat, by driving on Shabbat, by smoking cigarettes or hookahs or whatever they smoke these days on Shabbat, or watching television on Shabbat, or cooks on Shabbat, or works on Shabbat, unless any of those things are tied to pikuach nefesh, meaning they're tied to saving somebody else's life, that person is violating Shabbat. So if somebody is dying, and you have to cook them a meal to save their life, listen, it's an unusual pikuach nefesh. You have to cook them a nice, juicy steak on the barbecue. On Shabbat. And if you don't, they're going to die. Strange, but let's say it's a hypothetical story. It's a mitzvah for you to cook them. Meaning, you should not even do it in an unusual way. You should do it, lechatchila, as you would do it any other day. Why? You're saving a life. If someone, HaShalom, needs to go to the hospital, it's a mitzvah to turn on the car and drive the car to the hospital to take him to the hospital. Mitzvah. It's not that it's, oh, you shouldn't, or you should be careful, maybe make sure that no one's watching. No, no, no. Mitzvah. Mitzvah to go take him to the hospital. Why? You're saving their life. Mitzvah. But if you're doing those things just for your own tavon, your own desire, you're cooking a steak because you want a steak. You're working because you want to just make money. Not because you're a doctor, you're saving somebody's life. You're a doctor, but doesn't really have to go work on Shabbat, but you want to work on Shabbat because you want to buy an extra boat. You want to buy an extra car. You want to buy an extra diamond. You want to make more money. You're not working to save a life, you're working to make more money. Like there's one guy that stopped coming to my shiurim because he says, I already did tshuva. I said, I'm not so sure. He goes, why? I keep Shabbat. I keep Shabbat. I did tshuva. I'm like, there's a lot more than just keeping Shabbat. And probably you don't know all of halachot Shabbat. He goes, no, I'm okay. We're having this conversation on Shabbat. In the middle of the conversation, he tells me, oh yeah, you know what? I have to go check my phone. On Shabbat. I'm like, we're walking in the neighborhood, and he's like, all right, hold on, I gotta go check my phone. Well, you have to check your phone Shabbat. He goes, no, I'm a doctor. I'm like, you're a dentist for little children. You're a dentist for 4-year-olds that have parents that are probably not so smart sending their kids to dentists because the kids' tooth are gonna fall off anyway. It's all teeth that are not going to stay anywhere. They're 4-year-olds, but they want their teeth to look like movie stars. So they send them to a family dentist for kids, even though none of the teeth are going to stay. They're all going to fall off. But whatever, that's your job. Good for you, but you can't. No, I'm a dentist. I'm like, it's not pikuach nefesh. But I did tshuva. Everybody thinks they did tshuva. Everybody needs to do tshuva. The Charedim need to do tshuva. The Baalei Tshuva need to do tshuva. The rabbis need to do tshuva. The Chilonim need to do tshuva. The Goyim have to do tshuva. Everybody has to do tshuva. Everybody has to do tshuva for something. So someone that drives on Shabbat to go save a life, ashrecha. Why? It's a mitzvah. But if you're driving on Shabbat because you feel like driving, or because you think you're saving a life, but in reality you're not, you're just going to make more money, you're violating Shabbat. Now, if you think that you're going to save a life, meaning there's someone that's a woman that's about to give birth, that's considered pikuach nefesh. You take her to the doctor, you drive on Shabbat, take her to the doctor, they get her to the doctor, and as it happens so often, they say, oh, no, it's just a thing where you don't have to, you're not going to have the baby right now. Come back in a couple of days. You're not due yet. It happens. Sometimes the woman has contractions, and it doesn't happen to be that she's not giving birth. Did you violate Shabbat now? In the beginning it was mitzvah. But now, you didn't save any life, because the doctor says no baby. Is it now a sin? No. It's still mitzvah. Why? At the time, it was pikuach nefesh. At the time, it was pikuach nefesh. Still mitzvah. But you're not allowed to go back home, though. You have to wait until the end of Shabbat. So now, if somebody violates Shabbat, this week's parasha, Parashat Ki Tisa, it's like Hashem coordinates with our shiurs. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור ואתה דבר אל בני ישראל לאמור אך את שבתותי תשמעו כי אות היא ביני וביניכם לדורתכם לדעת כי אני אדוני מקדישכם. Hashem said to Moses, saying, now you speak to the children of Israel, saying, however, you must observe my Shabbat, for it is a sign between me and you for your generations to know that I am Hashem, who makes you holy. And the next verse says, ושמרתם את השבת כי קודש היא לכם מחלליה מות יומת כי כל העושה במלאכה ונכרתה הנפש ההיא מקרב עמיה. You shall observe the Shabbat, for it is holy to you. Its desecrators shall be put to have death upon death. For whoever does work on it, that soul shall be cut off from among its people. So here is one of the sources of what it means to violate Shabbat. Hashem Itbarach tells Am Yisrael, this Shabbat, that's the deal. That's the covenant. Meaning, no Shabbat, no deal. You could keep every mitzvah in the book, you could create mitzvot. You don't keep Shabbat, no deal. No olam haba. How do we know? From the literal translation of the verse itself. We're not even looking at commentary. Simple translation. First and foremost, he says, Mechalelea mot yumat. Death upon death. The desecrators have death upon death. Mot yumat is 2 deaths. So first death means that in the times of the Sanhedrin, the times of the Bet HaMikdash, they would actually kill them on the spot. If there is evidence that this person violated Shabbat, there is witnesses, he violated Shabbat, they kill him. How? The most vicious, hardest death penalty of all. There's 4 different types of death penalties. This one is the worst one. Why? This is the worst sin in Judaism. Now, the Gemara says, okay, now, there's no more Sanhedrin. There's no more death penalty in Sanhedrin. It says, even though there's no more death penalty because there's no Sanhedrin, there's no Bet HaMikdash, the death penalty still applies. Only now it's from heaven. And they give an example. It says, someone that violates Shabbat by, let's say, for example, working his cow, or riding his horse, the equivalent of driving a car, will have a bull run over him. Sounds familiar? It's called a car accident. It's called an airplane crash, a September 11th, a terrorist attack. Same thing. There are an enormous, tens of thousands of Jews die every single year because of car accidents. It's not an accident. It's from Shamayim. It's from Shamayim. And there's an unusual number of them dying while driving on Shabbat. Yeah. In Israel specifically. That's where they did the study. Huh? Huh? There you go. 33%, according to Amos's research, 33% of all accidents in Israel happen on Shabbat, meaning that Shabbat is only 1 day of the week. It's 1 day of the week. It's a 14% of the week. 14% of the week has 33% of the deaths. Shem Hashem. So that's the first mot. That's the first death. Second, yumat. What is yumat? Yumat means it's the second death. How could such a person die twice? They don't die twice. It means that the second death is olam haba. Their olam haba dies. No more olam haba, Shem Hashem. But then if that wasn't enough, it says, v'nichreta nefesh ha'i mikerev amea. And that soul shall be cut off among his people. If cut off, nichreta nefesh, would have meant death, then we wouldn't have had the first 2 words, but it's all in the same sentence. You already died once, you already died twice, this world and the next world. What's nichreta nefesh? What does it mean? The soul is cut off from its people. According to the Rambam, that literally means that person's Judaism is on suspension. They are now, in the eyes of Hashem, considered 100% an idol worshiper.
That's like 90% of Jews.
However much it is, sad as it is, it's a reality. Sad as it is, it's a reality. Currently, according to PW Research Center, 90% of the Jews in America do not observe Shabbat. So if there's approximately 6 million Jews in America, 5.4 are considered 100% idol worshippers in the eyes of Hashem. If that doesn't make you sad, you should double check if you're actually Jewish. Because one of the midot of a Jew is rachmanut, mercy. If you don't have mercy for your brother and sister, being considered an idol worshiper in the eyes of Hashem, the only eyes that matter, there's a problem with you, more than them. They're probably violating Shabbat because they don't know. You know and you don't care, it's a problem. So now, a person that violates it has a very, very serious problem, and we learned from our parasha. We learned from our parasha. But Purim also obligates women to do a mitzvah that's bound to time. The reason why we mentioned Shabbat, if you forgot already, is because it's a mitzvah the women are also obligated to do because it's bound to time. But now Purim also obligates women to do a mitzvah that's bound to time. What's the mitzvah? Hearing the Megillah at night and in the morning. Why are women obligated to do this mitzvah even though it's bound to time? Because the story of Purim saved both men and women. Women were very much a significant part of the story, and therefore they are obligated in this mitzvah. So that's the other mitzvah of Purim. So so far you have Mishloach Manot, Matanot Le'evyonim, give to the poor. Hear the Megillah, Machatzita shekel, and the last one, Rabotai, is for men only. What is it? Get drunk. Now, during the rest of the year, you're not allowed to just get drunk whenever you feel like it. Not allowed. But the Gemara says in Masechet Megillah, page 7b, says Amar Rava. Rava said, Michayev enish lebisume bepuria. One is obligated to become intoxicated with the wine on Purim. Okay. How do we know? Who, what, when, and how? Ad de lo yada ben arur HaMan lebaruch Mordechai. Until he's so drunk, he's so intoxicated, until he does not know the difference between arur HaMan, cursed is HaMan, and blessed is Mordechai. Throughout the Megillah, every time we hear the word HaMan, everybody makes with the groggers, they make a lot of noise, a little bit obnoxious actually, but nonetheless they make it. People forget to hear the Megillah, they just make the noise the whole time. But in tradition, people make noise when they hear HaMan. Why? HaMan is Aru, cursed. It's like Hitler. No different. Worse. Mordechai, Baruch. Mordechai saved the day. Mordechai, whoever doesn't know, the Gemara in Masechet Megillah also says Mordechai, where is he mentioned in the Torah? Where is he mentioned in the Torah? First, you can find him through Torah codes. Torah codes, which I mentioned, there was a chidush that came out today, something I mentioned a few years ago, to Torah codes. But it's also a literal Mordechai in the Torah. Who? The prophet Malachi. The prophet Malachi is actually Mordechai. Prophet Malachi is Mordechai. So, the obligation is to get drunk until you don't know the difference. And then it tells a very unusual story. There's many unusual stories in the Gemara. They're very entertaining. It says Rabbi and Rabbi Zera had a seudah together, had a Purim seudah together, a Purim feast together. And they became intoxicated. They had a few too many drinks for the mitzvah. And Rabbi got up and he killed Rabbi Zera. They got so drunk that Rabbi, Tzaddik, Tana Kadosh, can revive the dead, killed Rabbi Zera, another Tana Kadosh that can revive the dead. The next morning he wakes up, he sees his body, Tzaddik, Kodesh Kodashim, is dead. So Rabbi prayed to Hashem Yitbarach for mercy and brought back Rabbi Zera to life. Brought back Rabbi Zera to life. The following year, Rabbi sent an invite to Rabbi Zera. No, let's have the Suda this year. Rabbi Zera says, no, not this year. Not every year is Purim. Meaning, not every year we can rely on such a miracle. You brought me back from the dead. I'm scared of you. But a question, Rabotai, Rabbi Ephraim asked this question in the shiur. It's an amazing question. The question is, first and foremost, you saw, Rabbi, you saw how bad you got. You got so drunk, you killed your buddy. You went from being tzaddik to murderer. Why do you want to do it again? Why do you want to have another Suda? You, if anything, should stop drinking for the rest of your life. But not only wants to do it again, same person, same time, everything, nothing changes. Why? Because the significance of this mitzvah is huge. If you understand what it means. If you understand what it means. If you're just getting drunk, like a lot of people just get drunk and act like fools, it's not a mitzvah. If you understand what it means, it's a mitzvah. One of the Chachamim says, it's such a big mitzvah that it's considered as if you fasted an entire week. If you understand what it means. Now, Purim is a very big time for sgulot, very big time for prayers, to get good things from Shamayim, but you have to stay away from sin. And one of the things that people do is a very big mistake that ruins the entire holiday for them, is they stay drunk, they get drunk, and then instead of going to sleep like they're supposed to, in the afternoon, and let the alcohol get out of their system, they got drunk, they fulfilled the mitzvah, now you got to stop being drunk. Why? You have to go to Beit Knesset. What do? They go to Beit Knesset half drunk, or fully drunk, thinking it's a mitzvah to pray drunk. What they don't realize is that someone that goes inside a Beit Knesset drunk is death penalty in Shamayim. Even if they have mitzvot like Moshe Rabbeinu. Someone goes to a Beit Knesset drunk, someone goes to a Beit Knesset high on marijuana or cocaine or some pills, or he had a bunch of drinks in his system. He goes to Beit Knesset and he starts praying to Hashem. In Shamayim, it's 100% death penalty. How do we know? Nadav and Avihu, the two sons of Aaron HaKohen, they were Kodesh Kodashim, to such an extent that the Gemara says they were bigger than Moshe and Aaron. They were bigger than them. What did Hashem do? He killed both of them. Why? They had a drink before they went to Kodesh Kodashim. Not they got drunk, they just had one drink. One drink. Hashem killed them. Says, you don't come to me like that. You can do a mitzvah, but you can't pray to me at the same time. It's two different things. So the Rambam says, what you should do is you have a drink and go to sleep. Go to sleep in the afternoon for an hour, 2 hours, whatever you need to get, and then that's how the liquor leaves your system. You wake up. But if it's still in your system, you drank so much that it still didn't leave your system, don't go to shul. You're not allowed to pray drunk. Not allowed to pray drunk. Can't drive either. Forget about drive. That's a kal v'chomer. You can't drive. But you cannot pray drunk. No, because people think driving, people can understand. No, it's I'm not allowed to drive when I'm drunk because it's dangerous. But if I pray, it's a mitzvah. No, it's not a mitzvah. It's an averah. It's a big averah. People think they can do certain mitzvot anytime. No, sometimes the same mitzvah is an averah. Giving tzedakah is mitzvah. Giving tzedakah on Shabbat is averah. Tzedakah is mitzvah, but if you give it on Shabbat, you write a check on Shabbat to the shul for $1 million, or you go on PayPal and you give Bezrat Hashem $1 million on Shabbat, it's averah, it's sin. We don't want your money on Shabbat. Why? Sin. So mitzvah is not just a mitzvah anytime. There's a certain time and place for mitzvot. But Rabbi understood that this mitzvah is a big mitzvah. Why is it such a big mitzvah? What's the real meaning behind it? That's the whole shiur is about, the meaning behind this mitzvah. Why is it such a mitzvah to drink? Why is it such a mitzvah to drink so much that I forgot who Mordechai is and who HaMan is? Instead of saying Baruch Mordechai and Arur HaMan, I'm saying Arur Mordechai and Baruch HaMan. Instead of blessing Mordechai, I'm cursing him. Instead of cursing HaMan, I'm blessing him. That's how drunk you have to get. Why is this a mitzvah? It's a mitzvah if the rest of the year you did it right. If the rest of the year you blessed Mordechai and you cursed Amalek, you cursed Haman, then it's a mitzvah to get drunk and get confused. If the whole year you're acting like Haman and you frown upon the Mordechai, then Rabotai, it's no mitzvah for you to drink. You should never drink. You should mourn. Mourn your own neshama. Why? Because in Shamayim they say, Hashem Menachem, this guy has, Oh, wow. What a cheshbon he has in Shamayim. So now the question is, what's the difference between the two? What's the difference, the obvious difference? In the Gemara in Masechet Chulin, page 139, it says, on the verse in Deuteronomy 31:18, Hashem says, Esther min Torah minayin. Where is Esther in the Torah? There's a verse in the Torah that says, Anochi Esther astir panai. Hashem says that I will conceal my face. I will conceal my face. And from here we see this is where Esther is in the Torah. And when you use Torah codes, you count 12,196 letters from that letter, and you find the name Esther also. But nonetheless, what is the real meaning, the Gemara says? The meaning is that there are many things that are hidden in the Megillah. Many secrets inside the Megillah. Just like Hashem says, He's going to hide His face, and He's not even mentioned one time in the entire Megillat Esther, but it's still part of our Tanakh. Megillat Esther does not have Hashem's name even one time, but it's still a critical part of our Tanakh. It's still considered a Sefer Kodesh, to such an extent that the Gemara says that the Kohanim and Leviim would abandon their services at the Bet HaMikdash in order to go hear the Megillah. The Tanaim, the Amoraim, the Gdolei Ador, the biggest tzaddikim in the world, that all day, all night, all they do is learn Torah, they're obligated to stop learning Torah to go hear the Megillah. Meaning, to go hear this Megillah is not just like, oh yeah, it's nice, I'll just read it at home. I'll read it from my Chumash. It's nice. I'll read it when I get a chance. I'll read it tomorrow, I'll read it today, I'll read it next week. I read it already last week. Why do I have to read it again? No, the Gemara says in Megillah 3a that it's such a significant mitzvah to go hear this Megillah that the Kohanim that ran Bet HaMikdash stopped, went to go hear Megillah. Leviim stopped, went to hear Megillah. Tanaim stopped, went to hear Megillah. Why is it such a big deal? We know from the book of Jeremiah, Hashem Yitbarach says, Im lo briti yomam v'alayla chukot shamayim v'aretz lo samti. If not for my covenant day and night, the rules of the world will cease to exist. Meaning, if somebody does not learn Torah somewhere in the world 24 hours a day, I'll destroy the world. Meaning that right now, all the Tanaim, all the Tzaddikim, all the big rabbis that are learning Torah, they have to stop learning Torah. Why? Go hear the Megillah. Which means, in reality, if all the rabbis in the world stop learning Torah, the entire world will be destroyed. Hashem says, stop learning Torah, go hear the Megillah. You're putting the entire world at risk to go hear the Megillah. Meaning that there's a very big lesson here in this Megillah. What's the big deal? Why is it so important to go hear this Megillah? We heard it last year. What, the story changed this year? Mordechai loses? Why, Esther decides to slap AchashveRosh this year? HaMan falls on his face and he dies in the beginning of the story. We don't have to deal with him the whole time. What happened? The story is the same story, Rabotai. Why do you have to hear it? You heard it last year. Anybody here didn't hear it last year? Anybody here doesn't know the story of Megillat Esther? Anybody here doesn't know the whole thing? Everybody heard it. Everybody knows the basics of the story. I'm not telling you if you know all the midrashim, the whole thing by heart. You can quote me verse. I'm not saying that. You know the story of Megillat Esther, what happened? Okay, I'll sum it up for you in 2 seconds. Beginning. We have AchashveRosh throws a party. Am Yisrael shows up to the party. No good. Hashem gets very upset. Puts a decree that HaMan is going to be given power to destroy Am Yisrael, but obviously Hashem already instilled the cure before the ailment, where before this whole thing happened, AchashveRosh killed his own wife Vashti and married a Jew named Esther. Esther had several names. Esther was one of her names, but this is no different than many of the other sages in history. Each name had a different significance. It's not that she was trying to hide her Judaism, because Esther was how the Jews also knew her. Hadass was also a name that she knew her. She wasn't trying to hide her Judaism with her name. She tried to hide her Judaism with or without her name. Why? Because Mordechai told her, hide your Judaism. Hide it. He, on the other hand, publicly told the whole world he's a Jew. The Ben Ish Chai says, what does it mean? Mordechai Ish Yehudi. What does it mean that Mordechai was a Yehudi? What does it mean? He says that he was visibly a Jew, where someone from far away could identify, oh, that's the Jew over there. Why? Because he had long payas that were really big, that you could identify him from far away. Oh, that's a Jew. It can't be an Arab. It can't be a Persian. It can't be a Syrian. It can't be Amalek. It can't be somebody from, North Africa. It can't be an American. It's a Jew. It's a Jew. For sure. Why? Look at his payas. And that's why the Ben Ish Chai says that anyone that shaves their peot, their side locks on purpose, most likely violates their brit. Waste seed. Why? What does one thing have to do with the other? He says the brit that you have is something that makes you Jewish. As a man, you have Brit Milah on the 8th day. You have Brit Milah. If you convert at a later time, you have to have Brit Milah to be a Jew. No Brit Milah, you're not a Jew. But that's a deal. That's a covenant between you and Hashem that you must protect. But nobody sees if you protect it. Nobody sees if you're a Jew. He says to be visibly Jewish, you can't tell from the Brit. So how can you tell from the looks, from the exterior? From the exterior. Mordechai, on the exterior, you know he's a Jew. Why? He was not trying to pretend to be a non-Jew. He didn't want to wear their clothes. He didn't want to use their names. He didn't want to act like them. He didn't want to do business with them. He didn't want to go to their parties. He didn't want to be friends with them. You know Mordechai, Yehudi. Why? Everything about him is a Jew. Everything about him is a Jew. But if somebody hurts their visibility of their Judaism, meaning on the exterior, they don't look so Jewish. Why? Their hair is shaved. They got a nice, what do they call, fade. They got a little fade. They got a couple of streaks like they're a basketball player. They look in the mirror half the day with the pose, like they're skiing. They're looking at the mirror as much as their wife. You know, the suit is extra tight to make sure that everybody sees their figure, even though they're usually like this. They want everybody to see the embellishment of their chassidut of eating. Suit is extra tight. Pants are extra tight. Hair is all fly. They look like a movie star. They got a little... And that thing, get a haircut exactly on the same day every month just to make sure they always look fly. They look like everybody else. The kippah gets smaller and smaller, and sometimes it's so small you can't see it. Why? They put it in their pocket. When they put it back on, they go to the Knesset. They go to Shiur Torah, kippah is like this. Outside Shiur Torah, you're Jewish? You're Jewish? You want to put tefillin? The Chabad guys ask him, you want to put tefillin? You're Jewish? Why? I can't tell if he's a Jew, b'chlal. You can't tell if he's a Jew. Why? No kippah, no nothing. You cannot tell if this guy's a Jew. The Ben Ish Chai says, if you can't tell he's a Jew because he's hiding it, that's because he's also violating the stuff that's hidden already. He's violating his brit also. If he's violating the exterior brit, he's violating the interior brit. So Mordechai Yehudi, Rabotai, when we meet him in chapter 2 of the Megillah, when it says Yehudi, that means we can see it. We can see it. Now this Megillah, something we're all obligated to hear. So we read this Pirush on Mordechai, good. The rest of the story stays the same. Why is the story so significant that the Kohanim have to stop servicing in Bet HaMikdash? Why is the story so significant that the Leviim have to stop servicing the Bet HaMikdash? Why is the story so significant that the Talmidei Chachamim, the only ones that are visibly Jewish, meaning the Mordechais of the world, they also have to stop? Most of us are more like HaMan. Mordechai has to stop learning Torah, go hear the Megillah. But yeah, but the story didn't change. Ribono shel olam, why have to hear it again? Last year, HaMan lost. This year he's going to lose also. Next year he's going to lose also. Why do I have to hear it again? What's the message of the story? The message of the story actually has roots in this mitzvah of getting drunk. Why? The mitzvah of getting drunk, say, get so drunk that you confuse whether Mordechai is blessed or he's cursed, and whether HaMan is blessed or he's cursed. Why? Because the rest of the year you did it right. The rest of the year you knew for sure that Mordechai is blessed and HaMan is cursed. Only one day a year you're allowed to make the mistake, because that's a mitzvah, the one time a year. Now why is this such a big deal? Because the Gemara in Masechet Chulin, page 139, says just like Hashem hid his name and told that he's going to hide himself at the time of punishment in Parashat Kitavo, Aster astir et panai, he hid himself during the times of HaMan, he hid himself during the time of the Holocaust, he hid himself throughout all of history of where we had a decree against Am Yisrael. But in the end, he always saved us. Sometimes less of us ended the disaster than we started, but nonetheless, as a nation, we stuck around. Just like he's hidden, the lessons in this Megillah are also hidden. The secret of the Megillah is also hidden. Now, what is the secret? Why do I have to read this Megillah year after year to such an extent that I have to stop learning Torah? What changed? The story stayed the same. Did I miss the story for all these years? Have we been misunderstanding the story? Have we been reading the Megillah and because of our spiritual laziness, we just thought that the whole Megillah is just about a story between a few people and that's it? The answer is yes. We missed the story behind the story. So first and foremost, we're going to go over it briefly. And Be'ezrat Hashem, I'll have the strength to tonight try to finish this article so I could send it out to everyone by tomorrow. I'll have some more details. But if not, next year. But the lessons in this Megillah, the lessons of Parashat Ki Tisa, all relevant, all year round, especially to us as the generation of Mashiach. And this is how. If you look at the beginning of the Megillah, you start learning about AchashveRosh, you start learning about HaMan, you start learning about Mordechai. What makes one better than the other? Let's just see their behavior. First person that you hear about is AchashveRosh. AchashveRosh controlled over 127 different countries. In essence, he controlled the entire world. Every country, unlike today where people say, oh, America is the strongest country in the world because they have the strongest army, he had more power than America. How do we know? Because in America today, we have a lot of weapons in America, which is good. If there's a war, America is more likely to win if you base things on nature, base things on logic. But that does not make them the most powerful country in history. Why? Because in reality, America is a debtor nation, meaning they borrowed money from everyone. They owe an enormous amount of money, and what actually makes them strong is not the weapons. What makes them strong is that if their market collapses, if the debt market collapses in America, or the US dollar collapses, all of the other countries in the world collapse with it. Why? Because they all depend on America paying them back the loan. They all depend on the bonds that America issued to them maintaining value. This is the reason why we'd always tell my clients to never worry about America and China ever getting into a war. America owes China way too much money in order for them to go to war. So even if China hated the guts of America to such an extent that they wanted to murder them, the reality is they still would refrain from going to war. And the reason why is because America owes them an enormous amount of money, which means that if they go to war, immediately the value of the money, the value of the bonds that China holds, that's based on a loan that they gave America, drops in value, which means it's like murder or suicide. You murder the other person, then you commit suicide. Okay, so you're going to go kill America, but you're also killing your entire economy at the same time. Because the value of all the debt that you have goes down. The values, you're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. And then on top of that, you lose your number one customer, which is America also. So the entire world is based on that. That's your Wall Street lesson for today. What makes America powerful is that they owe everybody money, actually. In the days of AchashveRosh, he was much more powerful. Why was he more powerful than America? Because everybody owed him money. And everybody had to continue owing him money and they never paid back. Why? Because it would be continuing increasing. Why? Taxes. Every single one of the countries, 127 countries, had to pay AchashveRosh taxes. Today, even Americans don't pay taxes to America. The Americans themselves don't pay enough taxes to America, but they compare themselves to being the AchashveRosh, not so much. Not so much. In those days, you don't pay taxes, they kill you. Today, you don't pay taxes, they just send you a letter in the mail. Please pay your taxes. 5 years, 10 years. Eventually, if you don't answer for a long, tough time, maybe they'll send somebody to your house. So anyway, AchashveRosh controlled the world. The amount of money that he had is unbelievable. But a person that loves money never has enough money, the Gemara says. A person that loves money will never have enough money. Ohev kesef lo yizba kesef. Will never be satiated by the amount of money he has. So now, if you notice the behavior of AchashveRosh, most of the time he's a pretty happy guy. He has parties. He's celebrated for 6 months. He invites everybody. He doesn't exclude the Jews, even though in his heart he's an anti-Semite Nazi. Exterior-wise, he invites the Jews to the party. He even gives them kosher food, kosher pizza like Raphael gave you guys and you're not eating. He gave him a lot of kosher food, even though he hates them. So he seems like a pretty jolly guy. But then, It's a couple of times in the entire Megillah that you actually see who AchashveRosh really is. And why when we say his name, for the most part we say, Imach Shimo v'zichro. Even though in the end he ended up being a good guy. He didn't kill us. He still is a Rasha Merusha, the Gemara says, worse than HaMan. Still. Why? To the world, when it's fit and suit his needs, he was nice. He's a politician. You're paying him taxes, he likes you. You're giving him kavod, he likes you. You're giving him money, he likes you. You vote for him, he likes you. But there's only a couple of times you see who he really is. The Gemara says there are three things that you can measure a person by and who they really are. Koso, kiso, v'ka'aso. Koso, meaning, how does he behave after he has a few drinks? They say once you have a few drinks, the truth comes out. Well, you're a liar the whole year round? Yeah, you're a liar the whole year round. All year round, you're pretending to be somebody you're not. As soon as you have a few drinks, all the joah comes out of your system. All the sewer comes out that you've been holding back. All of a sudden, everybody finds out you're anti-Semite, even though you're a Jew yourself. All of a sudden, everybody realizes that you don't believe in anything. You hate this, you hate that. Oh, that's why you should, in reality, try not to get drunk ever. Except when there's a mitzvah to do it, which is Purim. Because most people in reality can't hold their liquor anyway. They act like, you know what. So, first, you identify who the person is after he has a couple of drinks. Couple of drinks, the train comes, hey, look at this guy. Watch out for him. Why? He's drunk. Why? But he was nice in the office. Once he has a couple of drinks, he's a different person. Different person. Koso. Kiso. Kiso is pocket. His pocket, we had a whole shiur about this on Sunday and last week. We talked about this a lot. To be honest with you, it seems like it's my tikkun more than it is yours. Dealing with stingy people. Mamash, it's something that's kaparat avonot. I've always disliked stingy people. I remember that one of the reasons why I never had many friends is because I couldn't stand people. I couldn't stand them. Why? Every time, you want to go out, when you're young, you want to go out in the secular world. So you have to go wherever you go and you have to pay. Nobody ever had money. So why'd you come? If you don't have any money, how come you came? Why don't you stay home? All of a sudden, when it comes to paying the bill, nobody ever has any money. Yeah, but you ordered 3 bottles. Yeah, but you ordered enough food to feed a civilization, and you ate it by yourself. What do you think? They're just going to give it to you for free, or maybe I'm going to go in the back wash dishes for you? Time and time again, nobody ever had any money when it came for the bill. And to me, after a while, I'm like, you know what? Shh. Can't take it. Nobody ever has any money. You ever notice that? But when it comes to buying a brand new car, they always have money. Comes to buying a brand new watch, they always have money. When it comes to buying their own thing at their own time, they always have money. For everyone else, they never have any money. Never have any money. Nobody has any money for tzedakah. They have $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 for a car, but tzedakah, $18. $18. But if you tell them, listen, I'll put your name on the website. Oh, okay, for that I'll give $500. What, so without the website, you're not going to give $500? If you put my name on your head, I'll give you $5,000. Put a little poster on your forehead. Every time they go, no, so-and-so donated, I'll give you $5,000. Why? They don't want to give tzedakah. They just want to give themselves more fame. So, kiso. Kiso, rabotai, his pocket, you get to know a person really well based on how he treats his pocket. If his pocket is constantly being opened because he's generous, it's good nature. Good nature to such an extent that the Gemara Akdosha says, if you have a choice, and one guy is Talmid Chacham, the other guy Am Haaretz, doesn't know anything. The Talmid Chacham learns a lot of Torah, is cheap. The Am Haaretz, generous. Go with the generous person. Stay away from the Talmid Chacham that's cheap. Why? If he's cheap and he's Talmid Chacham, he's Rasha. Meaning he's learning the Torah like it's a history book. He doesn't believe what he says. Why? You know by default, if you believe in the Torah, it means you have to be generous. Why? Hashem is generous. You are learning Torah to emulate Hashem. If you're not generous, you're not emulating Hashem. You're reading the Torah like it's a history book. If you're stingy, you don't believe in the Torah. You don't believe in Hashem. Hamash. Kiso, it's a big deal, Rabotai. Even if it's Talmid Chacham, stay away from him. If he's Amaris, doesn't know anything, go hang out with him. Why? If he's generous, that means he has good midot. If he has good midot, you can teach him Torah. You can make him better with adding Torah to him. But if he already has Torah and bad midot, nevela srucha tova mimenu. Even a dead animal in the middle of the street is even better than him. Why? He has Torah and he still didn't improve. Hashem Achem alav. This guy is a lost cause. If he has Torah, he still didn't improve. Lost cause. Lost cause. Torah doesn't say a lot of lost causes. It doesn't say there's a lot of lost causes. Here, Rabotai Karim, someone that has Torah with bad midot because he's stingy is one of the bad midot. Hashem Erachem. Makes $50,000, but his biggest donation of the year is $50, $100. How come? How come? Forget about Bezrat Hashem or anything like that. I'm talking about in general. How come? How come you're so stingy? How come your wife is still wearing the same clothes from 1985? Why don't you give her some new clothes? She's your wife. Yeah, but she didn't work for it. What do you mean she didn't work for it? She withstood being married to you for 20 years. That's already enough work. That's already worse than Gehinnom. Being married to you, being a stingy husband. A woman married to a stingy husband, that's worse than Gehinnom. Why don't you give your wife some new clothes? Forget about tzedakah. Why don't you be generous with people around you? If you're not generous with the people around you and you think that everything is yours, akol sheli, everything is me, Hashem Erachem alecha. You have a serious problem. Kiso. Once a person is stingy, problem. Person is generous, it's a good start. Doesn't mean by default that they're good. Because sometimes people are generous with other people's money. You ever notice that? People are always generous with other people's money. I remember I used to have employees and tell them, listen, you guys should get whatever you need, office supplies and so on, whatever you need, just get it. All the time, anytime I would say such a thing, all of a sudden, everybody raised their hand. Yeah, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need... All of you need all this stuff all this time. Why don't you say something? Oh, we didn't know. Okay. All of a sudden, after place, I wanted to make a $50 order from Staples, $1,500 by the end of the day. Everybody needs 5 staplers, this, that. Shem Achem, what you need a whole school? Everybody needs something. Okay, but said that once, twice, 3 times. Then when you moved offices, you start going to your furniture, you take stuff out. Every single drawer, file cabinet I saw is a bunch of brand new supplies. It's like they were storing it. Because I was paying for it. They were like storing this stuff. So you come to my house to this day. I have stuff in my old office. It's brand new. Why? They just want to buy because I'm paying. They're generous with my pocket. Or if, let's say, for example, I used to buy lunch for people all the time. Whatever you work, dude, I buy lunch. All of a sudden, everybody wants a steak. For them, for themselves, they get a little Chinese food, $5. I pay, everybody wants a steak, $25, $30, $40, $50. Whatever is more expensive, that's what we want. Why? It's based on price, it's better. If it's more expensive, it's better. Meudal. Everybody wants to be a machmir in spending when it's my money. That's how it was. People are always generous with other people's money. That's not generous. That's not generous. It's a rasha. It's a wicked person. Taking advantage of somebody. So, thank you, Skei Mitzvot. So, koso, kiso. Last thing is, kaso. What's kaso? Anger. How does he act at the moment of anger? Now, everybody gets angry. Everyone. Some people have fire in their veins like me, where unless you work on yourself day and night, you're going to spend 24 hours a day being angry. Not an hour a day or hour a week. 24 hours a day, you're going to be angry if you don't work on yourself. I remember my life before tshuva, all I knew was anger. I'm telling you, that's serious. This was the biggest part of me doing tshuva, biggest benefit. Why? I wake up in the morning already cursing. Nothing happened. I'm late. Late to what? You're the boss. Who, what? Somebody's going to dock you? What? You're late to what? Already, I was already angry. I come into the office, I'm angry. Why? They're not working hard enough. What do you mean? They were here since 8 o'clock in the morning. Well, it's not good. They're not hard enough. No, I was here. Always something. It's like a constant anger in you. Food comes, it's not hot enough. It's not cold enough. It's not this enough. The guy invested $1 million. He should have done $1.5 million. This guy's a piker. Always not enough. Always not enough. You're always angry at something. And that, by the way, Rabotai, is worse than cancer. Being angry is like drinking poison and expecting the other guy to die. You being angry is like you drank the poison, but you expect him to die. That's anger. Only you're going to lose from anger. Only you. You're angry, you'll lose. Automatically. You don't work on your anger, aside from the fact that Gemara says that it's the equivalent of Avodah Zarah. Aside from that, you'll have a miserable life. You'll have such a miserable life that you'll forget to ever be happy. And even the happiness that you're going to have is going to be so minute and so insignificant that every 5 minutes is going to get ruined. You have bar mitzvah for your son, somebody didn't give the donation that's big enough, the whole event goes to garbage. Yeah, but the event was good, the kid did a bar mitzvah, you spent, I don't know, $50,000 on his bar mitzvah, Baruch Hashem, we had the money to pay for it, everything is good, the kid's happy, the wife's happy, the kids are happy, everybody's happy. Yeah, but Steve only gave $100. Busha. Busha mag'iltan shama is disgusting. Okay, so he didn't give a lot. Big deal. Disgusting. The whole thing. I'm not allowed to have it. Huh? He didn't like the food. Yeah, he's blaming the food. He's blaming the guy. Every day. What? Guy's angry. Guys, angry will never be happy. It's impossible to be happy unless you work on your anger. And working on your anger, Rabotai, is a life task. It's not just like, oh, one day you do tshuva, you lay some tefillin, you keep Shabbat, you stop being angry. You have to work on it day and night to control yourself. It's very difficult. Very, very difficult.
You know, even worse than anger is depression. Because depression, you don't go anywhere. When you're depressed, you just literally don't know where.
Usually, the depression leads to anger. But the point is, Rabotai, is that when a person gets angry, he's no longer the same person. All day he could be jolly, all day he could be funny, all day he's happy, but as soon as he gets angry, the Gemara says, and also the Ramban quotes it in Nigeret Ramban, Kol minei genom sholtin bo. All types of Gehinom take control over him. What does it mean, all types of Gehinom? He creates all these demons from the sins that he has, and those demons now take control over all of his actions. He used to be generous, now he's cheap. He used to be polite, now he's impolite. He used to be attentive, now he's playing with his phone in a shiur. He used to be this, now he's the opposite. Everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. Please, Rabotai, stop playing with your phones. So, when someone is angry, they can't pay attention to reality. They can't pay attention to reality. But, even that can be under control, meaning, a normal person gets angry, the mom gets angry at the kid because the kid broke something. A father gets angry at the mom because she said something. A mom gets angry at the dad because he said something. Whatever, people get angry. What is the Gemara trying to tell us? It says, how angry do you really get? Do you let yourself get out of control where all of a sudden you're like Shimshon HaGibor, you would destroy the whole place? Or it's like, okay, you get angry, but you contain yourself, and it's like, relax, okay. Wow, well, you meditate a little bit, you breathe a little bit, okay, leave me here. I'm angry, I don't want to talk, I don't want to see, I don't want to breathe. If I could stop breathing, seeing, and talking, I do it right now, please. Leave me alone 5 minutes. Leave me alone 10 minutes. Leave me alone. Why? I'm angry at you. I don't want to see you, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want nothing. You made me angry, and you go to your room, you go to the bathroom, you go to the whatever room, You go smash your head against the wall a few times. Whatever you have to do to stop being angry. Under control. Why? Because you know if you don't, and he says another word, or she says another word, you shimshon gibor. You break the whole house. All of a sudden, shemachem, the Palestinians are already saying, okay, I'm sorry, we'll do tshuva. They're scared of you. They're scared of you. Like, don't send shimshon gibor over there, because... So, how angry do you get? So now, koso, kiso, and kaaso, it's a big deal. AchashveRosh looked like a jolly nice guy, invites everybody to parties. But we saw who he really was. When? When someone touched his kavod. When someone touched his kavod, all Kol Gehenom started taking control. We saw who he really was. When Vashti, his wife, said, I'm not coming. By the way, the Midrash says why she didn't want to come. Because Hashem gave her tzarat. Hashem gave her a disease, something equivalent to leprosy. Not really leprosy, but equivalent to leprosy. He put marks all over her body. Why did he give her such a big punishment? Because she used to take the Jewish women and make them work naked on Shabbat. She was such a wicked Reshait that she took the Jewish women, knowing that their number one mitzvah is modesty, knowing that Shabbat is the number one day of the year. What she do? Make them work on Shabbat naked. Or is she going to kill them, miskinot? So Hashem says, oh, you want my daughters to go do that? No problem. She used to be a very beautiful woman. Now you're going to look like a demon. She had a tail. She had a horn in her head all of a sudden. All of our entire body became tzarat, like white, like snow. Shem Hashem. So now, AchashveRosh didn't know this. Didn't know this whole thing happened. He says, oh, no. Let me show you how beautiful my wife is. Bring her out here, bring her naked. Now she used to be a Reshait. She didn't care about modesty. She would go around naked. She's a disgusting human being, this woman. But now he says, no, I'm not coming. Why is she not coming? Because she knows what she looks like. She looks like a gargamel with a horn. She looks like a demon. She looks with the horn. She looks like a unicorn with a human form. What does she look like? So she said, I can't come. I said, well, you can't come. Last week, you were walking around naked the whole neighborhood. The week before that, you had a party for naked people. Well, all of a sudden, you want to come? Oh, you're violating my kavod? Death penalty. But didn't you want to think, AchashveRosh, for a second? I said, it's your wife. Maybe it's not, I don't know, it's the time of the month. Maybe she doesn't feel good. Maybe, I don't know, she's busy. Like, it's your wife after all. Don't you think that you should control yourself a little bit? It's your wife. It's not that some woman you found in the street. It's your wife. She's also a princess, the daughter of Nebuchadnezzar. She comes from a house of kings. It's not just some woman. Give her some respect, no? No. She violated my kavod, death penalty. Meaning the whole marriage, the whole lovey, all shtuyot, all nonsense, all fake. Why? Touch this kavod. Touch this kavod, it's worth nothing. The second time I got the chidush this year, as we see at the end of the Megillah. At the end of the Megillah, we see that Esther plans the party in order to trap HaMan by saying, listen, there's a person inside your kingdom that's trying to kill my people and then trying to kill me because now she's AchashveRosh's wife. So she has the meal, the whole plan, and then the second day. So now on the second day, she tells AchashveRosh, yes, there's somebody that's trying to kill my people and trying to kill me, your wife. AchashveRosh says, who? Who dares kill my wife? Kill everybody else, don't kill my wife. Who's going to kill my wife? Who has the guts to kill my wife? He goes, HaMan. He's sitting right next to you. Him. Now, AchashveRosh, listen, HaMan just wrote a check, or actually paid him cash, $384 million a few days ago. He gave him a check, gave him a cash, $384 million. So he doesn't want to necessarily kill him right away. Why? We're doing business together. But at the same token, you're trying to kill my wife? You didn't tell me that when you gave me the money. You put me in a bad spot. I like this girl. So he's angry. He's upset. He doesn't know what to do. What do you mean? He's about to kill your wife. Yeah, but there's money involved. There's money involved. I got to go outside. He goes outside and he sees his garden. He sees his garden. And it says he comes back from the garden just as angry as he left. What do you mean? Your garden's beautiful. You have trees from all over the world planted. Everything. What's wrong? The garden's supposed to make you feel good. That's why people have gardens. All the rich people, they have gardens because it's something nice to see, and it makes you feel good. They forget to thank God, but they like what God gave them. So, says that he came back as angry as he left. Why? Because, Rabotai, Hashem sent malachim. He sent angels that pretended to be HaMan's sons. And they were cutting down the trees that belonged to AchashveRosh. Cutting down the trees in his garden. Hey, what are you doing? What are you cutting down my trees for? You know how much this garden cost me? Like, HaMan told us. HaMan told us. No, who cares HaMan told you? I'm the king, it's my garden. And they continued cutting the trees. Then he came back inside, he said, go hang HaMan. Why didn't you decide to go hang HaMan in the first place when he said he's going to kill your wife? Why is it only after you found out that HaMan's kids are cutting your tree, now you're so angry, go kill HaMan. Now money doesn't matter. Before you didn't want to kill him when he was going to kill your wife because you still had some business dealings. Now, some trees are going to cut off. You could just replant the trees, big deal. No, now you touch my stuff. Now you touch my pocket. You touch my kiso, you touch my keys, you touch my pocket, death penalty. Now it's death penalty. Why? Money was more important to him than his wife and everything else. As soon as HaMan touched his money, death penalty. So we see that AchashveRosh, his nature wasn't exactly good. HaMan, on the other hand, there's not enough time in the world to describe all of his bad midot. But we could see plainly from the story. HaMan is the richest man of the land. So rich, the Gemara says, he's the richest man that ever lived other than Korach. Other than Korach. Korach found one of the treasures of Yosef HaTzadik, which was a third of all the money that Mitzrayim had, that Egypt had. And the rest of the nation, the rest of Am Yisrael, found another third. Meaning, Am Yisrael had one third, and he had another third by himself. Said he had so much money that until this day, when you say rich like Korach. And no one was ever as rich as Korach. The only one that came close is HaMan. So when HaMan wanted to get things done, he knew that money makes things happen. Money makes the smart and wise blind also. So he came to AchashveRosh and says, listen, there's some people, they're getting, they're really unusual, they're separate, they're not this, they're not that. Let me just kill them. In reality, AchashveRosh said, who's these people? Who are these people? That's the Jews. Jews, but they pay taxes. They pay taxes, it's money. I'll give you more money. What do they pay you? What, they pay $5 million a year? I'll give you $384 million. I'll give you the money, what they're going to pay you in taxes for years to come. Because, yeah, but their God killed all of their enemies before us. Look at Paro, look at Nebuchadnezzar, look at everybody else. He killed all of them. Well, I'm going to go, their God's going to kill me. He goes, no, look what happened. You had 7 years. There was a prophecy that the prophet Isaiah made 200 years ago. That the Bet HaMikdash will be built. After the first Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, 7 years later, another Bet HaMikdash will be built. Look, we did the math. Look, me and you did the math. He didn't build it. Which means Hashem left them. Hashem left them. So you don't have to worry about their God anymore. All we got to do is kill them on a day that they have no success. They have no mazal. What day? 7th Adar. Why? That's the day Moshe Rabbeinu died. Their leader died on 7th Adar. That's the day they don't have any luck. They don't have any mazal. We'll kill them on that day. Without a hesitation, AchashveRosh signs the deal, not realizing that Moshe Rabbeinu was also born on 7th of Adar. But why did he want to kill all of them, HaMan Rasha? The story is that when he would pass by with all the money that he had, with all the kavod that he had, he comes to his wife and he tells her, and there's also guests in his house, and he tells her, listen, I have everything. I have my sons, I have my properties, I have my exchanges, I have my jewelry, I have this, I have this, I have this, but it's all worth nothing because Mordechai Yehudi would now bow to me. What do you mean it's all worth nothing? The $1 trillion you have in the bank is not worth anything. The kids you have in the world, the kiss the ground you walk on is worth nothing. The wife that praises you, worth nothing. All the people that kiss your fingers and your fingernails and everything else, everything is worth nothing. Yes. Why? This is the midah of the Nachash. The Nachash in the Gan Eden. The original Gan Eden in Parashat Bereshit. Parashat Bereshit, the Nachash, the serpent, came to Chava and he said to her, eat from the apple. Eat from not the apple. Eat from the tree of knowledge. Eat from the tree of knowledge. No. Hashem said no. Hashem said don't touch it. Hashem said don't eat it. And he said, I have everything else. Look, it's a whole garden. Garden had no end. Any fruit, any vegetable, anything you wanted, it had. All the good that's in this world is not even 1% of what she had right next to her, available to her for free. She didn't have to work for it. The Zohar Kadosh says the malachim, the angels, used to cook for them every day. Cook for them. You have everything good. But the serpent says, yes, but if you don't eat from the tree of knowledge, it's all worthless. Why? There's one thing missing. If there's one thing missing, you don't have anything. That's the midah ra'ah. That's an evil midah. Why? Looking at what you don't have. Instead of appreciating all you have, all you can see is what you don't have. There's an example they give in schools, and I've seen some videos about it that people do it. It looks very smart, and it is smart. A teacher shows his class a blank piece of paper with a dot on it. And he says, what do you see? And everybody says, oh, you see the white or the black dot. There's a huge piece of paper, and they show him there's a black dot in the middle of the paper. He shows one student after another, black dot, black dot, black dot, black dot, blah, blah, blah. He goes, what, nobody sees the rest of the white that I have? Nobody sees the rest of the white paper? That's our nature. Our nature is to see the little thing, little tiny, not the whole thing that we have. Instead of seeing all the good that Hashem Yitbarach gives us, He gave you eyes, He gave you ears, He gave you lips, He gave you taste, He gave you taste buds, He gave you the hearing, He gave you a wife, He gave you a husband, He gave you kids, He gave you a job. Even though the job's annoying, and even though the boss is annoying, and the customers are annoying, you have one. And even though the kids are annoying and they don't want to go to sleep, you have kids. And even though the wife and the husband, maybe you want to sell them on eBay, you have a husband and a wife. You know how many people are willing to pay a fortune just to find a husband or a wife? You know how many people are willing to pay a fortune just to have one eye? You know how many people are willing to pay a fortune just to have one liver? Or a wife or a husband or a kid or anything? All of what you have, no, I don't see. Why? I had a tough day today. What'd you have a tough day? Yeah, I lost a customer. Okay, but you still have another 100 customers, no? Yeah, but this was a big customer. Yeah, but you have 100 more, no? Yeah, okay, I have them already. I have the 100 customers. Oh, so that's not good? Yeah, but I couldn't get another one. So the whole life is ruined because you lost one customer. You forget about the 100 that Hashem gave you. All of life is ruined because you don't have this specific deal, or this specific amount of money, or this specific house, or this specific meal. Didn't taste so good, So the rest of Shabbat is no good. The wife toiled and broke her head and this and that, made a whole giant meal. She made you 3, 4, 17 meals for Shabbat. One of the salads doesn't taste good. One of the salads, you don't know how to cook. You don't know how to cook. Next week I'm doing catering. Next week I'm doing catering. There's husbands like this. What, do you think I'm joking? It's husbands like, Baruch Hashem, none of you. If not, your wife should send a private session. But the private session for people like that is just hitting. No talking. Wake you up. Wake you up for not being appreciative. People only see what's missing, not what they have. That's HaMan. That is HaMan. Instead of seeing all the good that he has, the trillions and the millions and everything else, all he sees, Mordechai, Yehudi, doesn't bow to me. It's all worthless. Who has that midah? The Nachash. The Nachash from Gan Eden. From the garden, from the original sin. You don't eat from the tree of knowledge, everything else that God gave you is worthless. Okay, so you don't have it. So you are so upset, they're going to kill the guy. Hey, you're a little extreme there, HaMan. Fine, you want to kill the guy. But why do you want to kill everybody? What do the rest of Am Yisrael do? Okay, Mordechai doesn't respect you. Fine. Okay, he doesn't like you. Fine. But why do you want to kill everybody? What do they do to you? Kaso. Kaso is anger. Once somebody's angry, logic escapes them. Logic escapes them. He's not thinking straight. He's not thinking proper. He's not thinking right or left. He's just thinking death. But they didn't do anything to you. Like all of these anti-Semites that you have in America and around the world, for the most part, most of them never even met a Jew. Forget about they've never been hurt by a Jew. Forget about they've been offended or they've never met a Jew. There's actually a whole country somewhere in Europe. I forget the name. It's a whole country, it's a small country, but it has, small country, it has a few million people. They have a holiday, where they celebrate the killing of Jews. There's actually I forget the name of the, I try to forget such things. There's actually a whole country. They have a whole holiday where they make like statues of what they think a Jew looks like. Big nose, big ears. They look like monsters. And they hit them and this and burn it and so on and so forth. Now, I remember I saw some type of movie about it many, many years ago. It was a comedy, but it was reality. And it's like a whole thing. Like an annual holiday of hating Jews and killing them and so on and so forth. So the guy that came there, he said to them, how many Jews have you met in your life? 0. None of them have ever met a single Jew. None of them ever met a single Jew. Hate for no reason. Hate for no reason. HaMan hated for no reason. Okay, Mordechai, you don't like him for whatever thing you have beef between you and him. Fine. You're wrong about that too, but why do you want to kill everybody for? What did they do to you? So if somebody's angry, can't control it, nothing is stopping them from becoming Hitler. Nothing is stopping them from becoming Hitler. And we see that the entire thing that drove HaMan HaRasha is someone dishonoring him, is someone not giving him respect. All of it was based on materialistic, egotistical mindset. The epitome of evil. On the other hand, we have Mordechai Yehudi. Mordechai Yehudi, as we said already, was visibly Jewish. Ish Yehudi היה בשושן הבירה. A Jewish man, this is actually the first time the word Yehudi appears in the Tanakh. First time. Who? Mordechai. Mordechai, Yehudi. What does Ish mean? Ish Rashet Tevot, Ish Yireh Shamayim. Someone that has Yirat Shamayim. What does make somebody a Yehudi? The Gemara in Masechet Megillah says, someone that's mored be'avodah zarah. Someone that goes against avodah zarah. So HaMan made himself into avodah zarah. And he had a statue on his neck. So every time somebody bowed to him, he bowed to the statue, thinking he's bowing to the statue, but in reality, HaMan would take it as if he's bowing to me. I'm avodah zarah. I'm a god. That's what he's saying. They're bowing to me. So Mordechai refused to bow to him. Now the question is, this Mordechai. Okay, everybody knows you don't like HaMan. In reality, you guys made a deal many years before. The Midrash says that in reality, HaMan sold himself as a slave to Mordechai. Many years before, the Midrash says, many years before, both of them were generals in the army. Mordechai was Baal Midot, had good Midot, and also taught his soldiers good Midot. So when food came, he knew that whatever food we got from the home base, who knows when the next delivery is going to come. So eat a little bit a day, a little bit every day. Don't eat like you've never eaten before. Eat like my students eat pizza. They don't eat at all. They just look at it the whole time. Eat like that. Eat like that. Don't eat. Eat, but don't eat. Eat with your eyes. Don't eat like in reality. Says, because we don't know when we're going to get it again. We don't know. HaMan, no midot, no good traits. So what happens? Everybody ate like they never ate before in their life. Know what happens? They finished all the food. Finish all the food. You got a bunch of hungry soldiers with blood on their hands. They want more food. Who are they going to go to? The general knew HaMan, give us some food. He says, I don't have any food. We don't have food. I'm going to eat you. You don't bring us food. We have to eat something. We'll eat you. HaMan runs to Mordechai. He goes, Mordechai, you got to help me out. I need food. I need food. He goes, hey, you don't have a problem. You should have taught your soldiers midot, not to eat everything. Okay, thank you very much for teaching me some musar. It's too late. I'm in deep trouble here. They're either going to eat me or, I don't know. I need some help. He says, listen, I'll make a deal with you, but I'm saving your life. So you have to pay me back. He goes, whatever, I have a lot of money. I'll give you money. No, I don't want money. I want you. What do I mean you? You're going to be my slave. For how long? Forever. So HaMan did cheshbon, did some math. Oh, either I'm going to be a slave forever or they're going to kill me. What's a better deal? Be a slave. So he signed on a shoe with blood. Signed on a shoe, a deal with Mordechai, I am your slave forever. So every time that, years later, every time that HaMan, who now became rich, who now became a leader, who now became second in command to AchashveRosh, everybody would bow to him. He'd expect everybody to bow to him. Instead of Mordechai bowing to him, he'd pick up his shoe and show him the agreement that he has. Hey, what bow to you? You're my slave. You bow to me. That's what got him angry. Because he knew it's true. Everybody loves the truth until it obligates them. Always remember that. People love the truth until it obligates them. Many people love my shiurim until I say something that's against them. Why? They have to fix themselves. I tell you, yeah, good, do, everything is good. Yeah, against this. Then I tell the guy, don't be cheap. Oh, all of a sudden, no, Amalek, you Rasha. Everything, you like my shiurim for 2 years. What happened? No, you too much. What too much? 2 years is not too much. No, you said something about me. Everybody likes the truth until it obligates them. And this, Rabotai, is a cancer. Musar is not supposed to be about other people. Musar is supposed to be about you, about me. Everything that I'm teaching, I'm learning. Meaning, I'm really talking to myself the whole time. You guys just happen to be here. this is helping my tshuva. You want to help you, but you don't want to help, it doesn't make a difference. At least I'm going to do tshuva. Why? I want to go to Gan Eden. I live Genom. I know what it looks like. But people, they like it when you talk about everybody else except themselves. Meaning, they want to be entertained. They come to shul to be entertained. They think it's like a singer. They think I'm one of these singers. I'm Gad Elbaz. I'm going to do some dance for you guys on stage. They Hashem Melech, Hashem Malach. No song, no dances, and I'm not looking for fans. Somebody sent me an email today. I haven't responded yet, but this is what the response is going to look like. Sent me an email, and he said, oh, I was watching your shulim, everything was great, until I saw what you said about the Holocaust and how God did the whole thing. I want no part of such a God. No more Yaron Reuven shulim for me. That's what she said. Show you the email. So, I'm very busy. I just had time to read the email, not to respond to it. When eventually, when I get to respond to it, whenever that's going to happen, the response is going to be, I'm not looking for fans, Baruch Hashem, but, you should know that everything I say is in the Torah, and provide sources. Not that it's going to change anything, but maybe, just maybe, if there's ever a small chance of such a person realizing the truth, we'll try to show him the truth. But at no point will there ever be going to be an apology. Oh, I'm sorry it offended you. You will never ever see that in any of the emails. Why? Because I'm not sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. It's the Torah. If you're offended by it, I'm offended by you. If you're offended by what God said, I'm offended by you. You are offensive. I'm offended by your existence. You're against my father. If you're against my father, I'm offended that you even exist. I'm not looking for fans. I'm looking for truth. You want to hear the truth? Sometimes the truth hurts. Why? It obligates you. It obligates you. It obligates me. And you should know that every single time I see something new in the shul, usually I get tested with it, either right before or right after. Why? Hashem says, okay, you said, let's see. No, you do it. I talk about stingy people, immediately I have a emunah test with money. Immediately I have a money issue. Immediately. It's like clockwork. But we still say it every week. Why? It's the truth. It's either 100% truth or 100% a lie. 99% truth is 100% lie, Rabotai. Mordechai Yehudi knew this. Mordechai Yehudi did not care about what everyone else thought. He just cared about the truth. So he did not pretend to be a goy. He did not pretend to be like anyone else. He wanted everyone to know, I am a Yehudi. I am a Jew. I have nothing to do with anyone else. And I want you to know it, not just by the words that I say, but by also the way I look. I'm not going to come to your parties. I'm not going to wear your clothes. I'm not going to hang out. I'm not going to have chit-chat with you. I'm not going to have sheshbetz tournaments. I am not like you. Why? I'm a Jew. Hashem put me in the world to be a Jew. If he put me as a goy, I'd be a goy. But since he put me as a Jew, I must be a Jew. A Jew is different. A Jew is chosen. Chosen to what? Serve Hashem 24 hours a day. Now, okay, be a Jew, but why don't you be like some of those political Jews that stay out of trouble? Why do you have to stay at the gate where HaMan leaves every day and Dafka not bow? Don't be at the gate. Go somewhere else where HaMan's not going to be there. Why are you Dafka going to go to the Nazi camp? You know HaMan's leaving there every day. He's going to see you every day. He's going to see you not bowing to him every day. Go somewhere else. Okay, we know you're a Jew, Chazaku Baruch, you learn Torah, you do mitzvot, good. But why do you have to do it in this face? Go somewhere else. Why? You're putting your life in danger, no? Not allowed to put your life in danger. Not to put life in danger. So how could the head of the Sanhedrin put his life in danger every single day? The answer, Rabotai, is also in Gemara Masechet Megillah when they ask, how come we do not read Hallel on Purim? We read Hallel throughout Rosh Chodesh. We read Hallel throughout holidays. Why don't we read Hallel on Purim? And the Gemara answers surprisingly, but not surprising if you know what's going on. What's the answer? The answer is, they say, we don't read Hallel because Hallel is a prayer of celebration. We have nothing to celebrate because we're still servants of AchashveRosh. What do you mean we're still servants of AchashveRosh? He died. No. Physically died, but figuratively speaking, we're the same people. Nothing changed. If AchashveRosh invited you to a party, would you come? Come on, no. Donald Trump invites you to a party to the White House. Would you go? It's Donald Trump. It's the President of the United States. Would you go? Everyone's saying, the fact that you're even thinking that's a remote possibility shows the Gemara is right. We are still the same people. Nothing changed. No one has done tshuva yet. 2,500 years has passed. Nothing changed. Everybody's like, Donald Trump though. No, he's nice, no? Donald Trump. Finds me the White House. No, it's kavod, no? He likes Jews. Kosher food. Kosher food, no? What? It's honor to, no honor, no nothing. You're a Jew, you have no place there. You have time? Go learn Torah. Go do mitzvot. Go discipline your kids, make sure they're tzaddikim. Go make your wife happy. You have no time for the White House. You have no time to go play golf on Sundays. You have time to be a Jew and a Jew only. But how many of us are Jews? How many of us like a Mordechai, a Yehudi? How many? Okay, so you got a couple of million that are religious, but how many are like Mordechai? If you invited them to the Bet Mikdash, to the White House, how many are going to say no? How many are going to say no? How many? Hey, Sarah, everybody's going to come up with new excuses. No, it's kosher food. No, it's peace for the people. It's good for the people, negotiations. You could do it on the phone too. You could do it on the phone also. You don't need to go there. You don't need to go to a party. It's all excuses. Why? You want to be in a picture. Oh, look, I'm next to Donald. Me and Donnie. My boy. You forgot who you are the minute you left. But you have a picture on your wall for the rest of your life that you took a picture with the president. Me and the Trump. Me and the president. I went to all these people's offices throughout my life, lawyers, doctors, so on and so forth. Everybody has pictures of famous people on their wall. The famous people don't have a picture of you on their wall, though. The famous people do not have a picture of you on the wall, but you have a picture of their wall like it's a Moshe Rabbeinu. Look, I was with the president in 1985. I was with the this one and this one. Who are you? What do you want? Where are you? Where is your head? Where is your head? This, Rabotai Yekarim, is the reason why we do not read Hallel. We're still the same people. We still haven't done tshuva. So now, we'll finalize with this. The Gemara says that you must drink until you get so drunk that you mix up the blessings of HaMan and Baruch Mordechai to the opposite. Instead of HaMan, blessed Haman. Instead of blessed Mordechai, Mordechai. You blessed. Why? Because the only time during the year you made that mistake. The rest of the year, you knew Mordechai, Yehudi, Kadosh, blessed is he. Why? I'm trying to emulate him. I'm trying to be like Mordechai Yehudi. If you did it the whole year round, then you're allowed to get drunk and mitzvah. Such a big mitzvah, it's like you fasted for an entire week. But How many of us are doing that? How many of us, Rabotai, are really living the life of Mordechai? When you really think about it, kind of sounds like many of us are more similar to HaMan. Why? The minute the guy didn't give you kavod, what'd you do? You say, oh, it's okay, no problem. Or do you want to take his head off and put it on a picture right next to Donald Trump? He made you upset. Why he didn't give you kavod? He didn't make you chazan in the Beknesset. He didn't make you chazan. Or he didn't give you the aliyah. He didn't give you aliyah, so you wanted to put him on the wall next to the Modeh over there. Why? He didn't give you kavod. Or the minute you got angry, your wife said something, your husband said something, all of a sudden, you are HaMan. Why? You don't want to just kill her, you want to kill her entire family. And everyone that knows her. And everyone that's friends with her. Why? Made you angry. All of a sudden, you want to break this, break that. But what happened? Just one thing happened. How many of us are visibly Jewish? How many of us look like Jews where if we see, look at the Jew coming. No, Kaddish, come on, look. How many of us look like Jews? How many of us look like Jews? How many? The Jews want to look like Goyim, the most religious among us. That's the issue behind the whole wig thing. The whole wig thing is why we want to look like Goyim, not because we want to look like Jews. No place in the entire Tanakh do you see a single tzadikah, a single woman mentioned, she had a wig on. Sarai Menu had a wig 3 feet long. No, you're never going to see that. Rachel went to the wig maker and got a longer wig, a newer one. Never going to see that. The whole thing, we want to have wigs. Why? We don't want anyone to tell. When I go to the store and they know, when I wear my mitpachat, when I wear my scarf on my head or my hat, they treat me differently. Perfect! That means they know you're Jewish. Yeah, but I don't like it. Oh, so you don't like being a Jew? You don't like being a Jew. You're not proud of being Jewish. Why? You want to look like a guy. Why do you wear that clothes? Why do you want everybody to? Why do you wear such immodest clothes? Why is your shirt so tight? Why is your skirt so short? When did you start wearing sleeveless? Oh, when Obama's wife came into the house, everybody all of a sudden started wearing tank tops. Michelle Obama started a new style. Why? No sleeves. Oh, so you want to be like the Goya? You want to be like Michelle Obama? How come you don't want to be like Sarai Menu? How come you don't want to be like Rachel? How come you don't want to be like Rivka? How come? How come when you want to look like everyone else that's not Jewish? Oh, so you don't want to be a Jew? No, but I keep Shabbat. Okay, good for you. Keep Shabbat. They stopped Gehinom on Shabbat for you. This, Rabotai, is the secret. The secret is we have more midot like HaMan and AchashveRosh than Mordechai. It's time to change. It's time to do tshuva. It's time for us to be proud that we're Jews. Because if you're a Jew, that means that you're chosen. You're chosen by the only one that matters, Hashem Yitbarach. He chose you to be one of very, very few people that he says, that's my firstborn. That's my firstborn. He doesn't say that on everyone else. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 8. ואתה ישראל עבדי יעקב, אשר ברכתיך זרע אברהם אוהבי. But you, O Israel, my servant, Yaakov, you who have chosen, offspring of Abraham, whom loved me. When all the Goyim say, oh, who's the suffering servant in Isaiah 53? Look, it's J.C. Penney. No, it's not J.C. Penney. It's Am Yisrael, Rabotai, and you see it right over here. Hashem Yitbarach says, oh, Israel, you're my servant. You are my servant. You are my servant. You, O Israel. Why? You're a descendant of Avraham. Avraham that loved me. How many of us can be defined as lovers of God? If you love someone, you're proud of it. You show off. You have no problem telling people about it. Why? I love my wife. How much? More than life itself. Why? It's the greatest woman in history. Mehmet, I'm talking about my wife. Why? I'm proud of it. I love Hashem too. Why? It's the greatest. He gave me everything. Why? He's Hashem. Proud of it. No problem. No, not shy about it. Not second guessing. Oh, should I say it in front of people? I love being a Jew. Why? I'm chosen. It's the greatest thing in the world. Who has the problem? The one who denies it. The one who still wants to look like a goy. The one who still wants to hide their love for Hashem. The tiba live. They're religious in their heart. Just make sure no one knows though. Make sure no one knows I'm religious though. No, wear the kippah. No. I can't let you. My customers are going to leave me if I wear a kippah. My customers are going to leave me if I wear a kippah. Never in the history of man has any real customer left someone that wears a kippah. As a matter of fact, if you ask goyim, who would you prefer to do business with? The guy that is wearing a kippah versus the guy that's not wearing a kippah? 100% of the time, not 99%. 100% of the time, they'll tell you the guy with the kippah. Why? The guy with the kippah knows there's a God above. He's scared of something. If he's scared of something, he's more likely to be honest. This is why one of the head journalists in Israel, who for many years reported the interesting articles and interviews of terrorists, he would speak their language in Arabic and so on, and he would go into their places, put his life on the line. One time, he tells he did tshuva at the end. Himself did tshuva. They ask him, how come you did tshuva? He says, the terrorist helped me do tshuva. Huh? The terrorist helped you do tshuva? He goes, yeah. He goes, one time I was interviewing a terrorist. Hamash, a guy that's like a head of a terrorist organization. Hamas, or this one, or that one, whatever it was. And I'm interviewing him. In the middle of the interview, he looks at me, he goes, you know I want to kill you, right? Somebody tells you he wants to kill you when he has a gun in his hand. It's kind of scary. But the only reason I'm not going to kill you is because I agreed not to kill you. I'll agree to let you interview me. So, he interviewed him and ran away after Shem Hashem. He just put his life on the line. Time passed, he did tshuva, and he interviewed the same terrorist again. So this time when he showed up with a kippah. And the same terrorist says to him, he goes, you know, now I'm obligated to protect you. Huh? Protect me? You wanted to kill me last time. He goes, yeah, last time you were enemy of God. Now, you're the one he chose. He got chizuk from a terrorist. Do you need chizuk from a terrorist to be visibly Jewish? Or are you still going hiding? You're still hiding the kippah. You're still hiding the tzitzit. You're still hiding Shabbat. You're still hiding the mitzvot. You still don't want to tell people what you do on weekends. You still want to go play basketball. This you have to ask yourself. Why? Because you have a mitzvah coming up in 24 hours. You have a mitzvah to, for the first time, confuse Mordechai and HaMan. Make it the last time for the rest of the year. Any questions?
So, what you're saying before, you're saying to look closer to a person like Hitler than we are to Moses?
Based on our midot, yes. Based on our character traits, we have more character traits similar to HaMan than we have to Mordechai. Because if you look at Mordechai, his midot, as we went over for the first couple of hours, I think you missed a part of it. We looked at all the midot that Mordechai has. We looked at the midot that HaMan has. And we have midot that are closer to him than to the other. Next question.
You're saying most religious Jews too?
Most of the world. There's almost 8 billion people in the world, most of them, which includes us in this room. Includes all religious Jews. Includes everyone. Most. Not everyone. Most. If you haven't done complete tshuva, definitely you. Definitely you. If you've done tshuva, maybe you in some regards. You have to ask yourself, if somebody disrespected you, how'd you act? Did you act like Mordechai or did you act like HaMan? If someone asked you for a favor, did you act like Mordechai or did you act like HaMan? And so on and so forth. We're not going to go over the same shiur again. But the point is that you have to look at the midot of HaMan, you have to look at the midot of Mordechai.
Wouldn't most people not want to kill like HaMan? Like if HaMan wanted to kill all the Jews in one shot, wouldn't most people not actually go that far?
So you picked one thing that most people have a common sense not to do, but not necessarily everybody. In fact, there was somebody that forgot that just 24 hours ago, there was a father in Israel that got angry at his wife. So then he decided to kill her, and then kill his 3-year-old child, and then kill himself by putting himself on a train tracks. And then a few months ago, there was a different father that asked the police to investigate the murder of his only daughter. He had only one daughter, and somebody murdered her. And he asked the police to investigate. What did they find out from the investigation? The father murdered the child. Why? The mom disrespected him. The mom disrespected him. He didn't like that she disrespected him, so he knew that she loved the daughter, so he killed her. Even though it's his daughter too. So murder may be far away from us right now, right this second, because Baruch Hashem, we're not angry. When you're angry, maybe it's still far away from you. Maybe it's not. But that's not the only midah we talked. There's many other things. But the issues of horrible behavior are happening every single day. The issues of ignoring the truth is happening every single day. You tell people to their face certain things are not allowed, and they'll come up with excuses, knowing that it's an excuse. And they'll still say, yeah, but this, but that, but this, but that, but no. They'll make up excuses to justify their lie. This is exactly what HaMan was doing. HaMan justified his misbehavior, his disgusting behavior, by lies. Why? He said, listen, you have all this money, HaMan. You have more money than everybody else. You have kavod, you're second in command. Everything is great. What's the problem? Well, what do you care about this Mordechai? HaMan said, no, but if Mordechai doesn't bow to me, then eventually somebody else will listen to him too. And eventually somebody else, and eventually somebody else, and eventually no one's going to bow to me. He justified it and rationalized it in his head. Rationalized in his head how it's right to kill Mordechai because he's not bowing to me. This is Mordechai. This is also us sometimes. If you don't mind, give me my bag. The black one, yeah. This is us. This is Mordechai. Next question.
What would you like to say to find in the environment where you is forced to be a Mordechai? Because nobody else is standing up for the truth, and he's standing up for the truth, but he's getting a lot of backlash. I know the Rav can relate to this.
It's my life. You telling me my life? Can.
Other people stand up for the truth. So what would the Rav say to someone like that? Suppose that this person right now is watching the shiur.
Yeah.
What advice would you offer
For somebody that deals with backlash? Welcome to the club. Listen, it's not easy. It's not easy to try to be Mordechai. It's not easy to try to be Moshe. It's not easy to try to be Pinchas. It's not easy to try to be Eliyahu Navi. It's not easy to be Avraham Avinu. It's very easy to be Esav. It's very easy to be HaMan. It's very easy to be Paro. It's very easy to be Nebuchadnezzar. But to be Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, David, Shlomo, very hard. Why? You're the enemy of the state. Who's the state? Your own state, your own people. If you look at all of the prophets in the Torah, many of them had a mitah meshuna. Many of them had an unusual death. They were murdered by their own people. As you remember, I told you a story about Zechariah. His own people murdered him when Nebuzaradan, the chief in command for Nebuchadnezzar Rasha, came to Yerushalayim and he saw the blood on the floor. And he asked the Jews, what is this? He said, oh, it's blood from one of the sacrifices. I've never seen blood boiled before. So make another sacrifice. I want to see it. They made another sacrifice and the blood was swallowed by the ground and then boiled. So maybe this one didn't work. Do it again. They did it again. Sacrifice. Another sheep. Nothing. Said, okay, so obviously you're lying to me. So if you don't tell me the truth, I'll kill all of you. What's this blood boiling on the floor? Said, what can we tell you? This is the blood of our prophet, Zechariah. We killed him. Why would you kill your own prophet? He rebuked us. He told us to do tshuva. We didn't want to do it. He told us to keep Shabbat. He told us to stop wasting seed. He told us to take off the wig. He told us to be modest. He told us to eat kosher. He told us to learn musar. He told us everything that Hashem told him to tell us. We didn't want to do it. So we killed him. We figured, at least we don't have to hear it anymore. Nebuzaradan said, oh, I will avenge him. And he killed all of them. And then he went back to the blood, and he saw that the blood of Zechariah is still boiling. He went and killed more people. Came back to the blood. Saw it's still boiling. He screamed to Shamayim. He said, Zechariah, Zechariah, I've killed the best of them. Do you want me to kill the rest? And the blood calmed down. At that moment, Nebuzaradan did a kal vachomer, and needless to say, he did an argument on his own. And he said, if all the people I just killed, God of Israel gave me the power to kill them because they killed one. They killed one tzaddik. And Hashem gave me the power to kill all of them in cold blood for killing one of them. What will he do to me if I don't do tshuva? At that very moment, it was a moment of truth for Nebuzaradan. Chief in command, the next guy in line after the king, zillions of dollars, no end to the kavod, conquered the world, gave it all up. For what? To go be a slave. He took off his symbols of being a general, put on a sack, sent a suicide note back home so they don't look for him, converted to Judaism, and joined the nation that became slaves. Joined the nation that was slaves in his own country. He converted to Judaism. What was his schar? What was his reward? His sons got to the level of Ruach HaKodesh. They became such tzaddikim, they got to the level of Ruach HaKodesh. Why? In the moment of truth, he was able to do tshuva. It's very difficult. It's very easy to do tshuva when you're broke. It's very easy to do tshuva when you have nothing going for you. It's very easy to do tshuva when you're sick. You're lonely. Hard to do tshuva when you're the general. Hard to do tshuva when you're Yitro. Yitro was a billionaire. Everyone kissed his feet. What did he do? He gave it all up. For what? I found the truth. That's why there's a parasha named Parasha Yitro. So Rabotai, right now, Baruch Hashem, each one of us has our own tests. But as a nation, we have a bigger test coming. The way it looks in the world, things don't look so good. If you still think they do look good, then you're just blind. Anti-Semitism is increasing bigger than ever. Assimilation is increasing just as rapidly. Those same things happened in the past. Most notably, right before the Holocaust. Now I thought about it, maybe doing Aliyah, maybe not doing Aliyah. It's still in consideration, but nothing's going to change. Whether you live in Israel, you don't live in Israel, is not going to help. What's going to help is if you do tshuva. If you do tshuva, it doesn't matter if you're inside a concentration camp, Hashem will save you. If you don't do tshuva, you could be on top of the kotel, and Hashem won't save you. You have to decide where you want to be. You want to be Mordechai, you want to be HaMan. It's easy to be HaMan. Everything is based on material. You act like 8 billion people. You look like them. You dance like them. You sing like them. You do business like them. Do whatever you want. Live for this world. It's easy. You have a desire, fulfill it. You see a woman, you want her, take her. You see a man, want him, take him. You see food, want it, eat it. Based on desire. But that does not separate you from the animals. Only difference is the animals are much more valuable. Why? That's their job. Their job is to see something and eat it. You are not supposed to be that. You are not supposed to just see something and eat it. You have to find out, is it kosher? Is it not kosher? Did I eat something that forbids me from eating this? If I eat meat, I have to wait 6 hours before I drink milk or eat any dairy products. If I just ate fish, I have to clean out, change the plate, and eat meat on a different plate. I can't eat fish and meat on the same plate. Even though I'm not eating them together, still can't be done on the same plate. You have to think about these things, which seems like it's a big deal for people that don't do it. In reality, once you start doing it, it becomes second nature. Why? Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I'm always thinking about Hashem being next to me. Always. What's tamid? Always. All the time. All the time. Not sometimes, not maybe, all the time. A woman that believes that Hashem is next to her all the time will never ever dare do something immodest. Never. She will never leave the house without a kisui rosh. Never. She would never eat non-kosher. She would never curse. She would never do anything that puts something in the way of her husband learning Torah. Never. She never tell him, no, honey, why don't you stay with me, and, I'm sick, and I'm this, and unless she's dying. And she wants to see her husband before she goes to the next world. And even then, there's a safek. Why? Shiviti Hashem l'negdi tamid. A woman knows that her husband's sole purpose in the world is to learn Torah. A woman knows that all of our schar comes from a few basic mitzvot. 1, her husband learning Torah. 2, her modesty. If she goes outside and she looks like the goyim, either because she shows her hair or because she wears a wig and no one can tell it's a wig, what separates her from everybody else? So there's a real story I got from somebody just the other day. Woman told me that for years she went back and forth. Sometimes she would wear a wig, sometimes she would wear mitpachat. But she always knew inside her the wig is not kosher. Had nothing to do with avodah zarah. Nothing to do with avodah zarah. She knew it's not kosher. She had a few of them. And she knew it's not modest. She knew that the whole issue of covering your hair is 2 mitzvot. One is modesty. The second one is to cover your hair. So, as far as covering your hair, even if you cover your head with a garbage pail, you covered your head. But that's not the mitzvah. Why? It's a walking chilul Hashem. If every Jew walked around with a garbage pail on his head, it wouldn't look good. It's against Hashem. So obviously there's a nice way to cover your hair. You cover your hair with a mitzpachat or a hat or something like that. But the second thing is that it has to be modest. Meaning, by definition, it cannot attract the attention of others. By definition, that's what modesty means. Now, it doesn't mean ugly. It just means it doesn't attract attention. Meaning, you walk around, and another woman walks around, she has her hair showing, you don't. You have a hat going. Some may look at both of you, but the vast majority of people will only look at her. Why? That's the way guys are built. So a woman that covers her hair knows this. But this woman was going back and forth like many women do today. Sometimes they go to the extent where at home they wear a mitpachat, outside they wear a wig, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to do. Or they'll wear a wig, they'll wear a mitpachat all the time, except when they go to a wedding or bar mitzvah or some type of event. So God is in their life all the time, except when other people see. Except when everyone comes, God's not there. But every other time, God's there. This is actually worse, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is worse. Why? Yomash, you're saying you're doing a mitzvah, except when it really matters. So this woman knew this. And she knew, I have to go back after this, after that. But it's hard. Told me it's hard. It's hard to get rid of the wig. Why? You look so much better. You get so much attention. It even looks better than your real hair. It's always done. It's always, people treat you differently. You fit in. Okay. 8 billion people fit in. A Jew is not supposed to fit in. If you fit in, there's a problem. If you're like everyone else, there is a problem. So she decided that it's time to get rid of the wig. And after a lot of crying and a lot of prayers and a lot of videos, she got rid of the wig. And she says, I couldn't believe how much less attention I got. Even when I would go to the simple store. Even when I go to the store to buy milk. Even when I went to work. Even when it's so much less attention. And she goes, it made me feel good. Why? I knew God was watching. When I was getting all the attention because I looked like everyone else with the wig and everything else, I got a lot of attention. Everybody was extra nice to me. Everyone was this, everyone was that. And that's how you know deep inside it's not kosher. It's not modest. That's how you know. That's how you know how Chachamim, Kdoshei Olam, people that are the biggest rabbis in the world, said things like the Baba Sali, who says, anyone that thinks that they're able to cheat HaKadosh Baruch Hu by wearing a wig, and it's as if they're pretending, as if they're wearing they're covering their hair, it's really like it's a bigger sin. Why? You think you can fool God. The fact that you could fool people is one thing. But to call yourself religious by pretending that you're able to fool God, it's bigger, even more ridiculous. But this is not where he stopped. He said such harsh things like any woman that wears a wig, regardless long, short, avodah zarah, not avodah zarah, that wig will be used as something to burn her with in Gehinnom. What, you think the Baba Sali was just said things without thinking? He said things because of anger? He said things because he just wanted to scare people? No! This is the truth! This is the truth, Rabotai. What can I tell you? Harav Spadron asked the question, why does every woman want to look like the only woman in the entire Torah that her hair is mentioned? Who? The Sotah. No one ever talks about the hair of Sarah. No one ever talks about the hair of Rachel, Rivka, Leah, Hannah. No one ever talks about any of the hair of all the other tzadikot. Only one woman in the entire Torah mentioned her hair. Who? Sotah. The wayward woman that's suspected of cheating on her husband. That's the only woman they mention her hair. And why do they mention her hair? Because they're showing her hair to embarrass her. Because they're trying to convince her and pressure her into admitting that she cheated on her husband. Why does everybody want to look like the Sotah? And the list goes on, and we've gone over this many, many times. In the end, everybody knows the truth. So now, this woman, Baruch Hashem, she said that the videos, the lectures we've done helped a lot, because she said even though she stopped wearing the wig, it was still very hard to deal with in the beginning. But then when she heard that it's Avodah Zarah, she says that was the nail in the coffin. That was it. Then I knew I made the right choice. Then at that point it was easy for me. It was hard because of the modesty issue and so on and so forth. But once I knew it's Avodah Zarah, I said, Chash v'shalom. She said, I'm trying to go to Gan Eden. I have Avodah Zarah in my house? How? How could I allow such a thing? Even if it's 1% safek, possibility of Avodah Zarah, who would have 1% safek poison inside your steak and still eat it? Who would think that there's a chance, there's a possibly poison in your food and still eat it? Who? Having Avodah Zarah is more than poison. It's more than poison. This is why the Gedolei Hador conclusively said time and time again it's not allowed. And all those that say it's allowed said something completely different was allowed. Not something that we have today. So now anyone out there that says such things like I just said, whether it's about Shabbat and what is a Shabbat desecrator is considered an idolater, which is very uncomfortable to hear, or the fact that his Judaism or her Judaism is on suspension, or that a woman that does not want to cover her hair or does not want to do tshuva with modesty, she has a very serious problem with God. This is not nice to hear. This is not nice to say. But the reality is truth. So anyone that joins that club and starts telling people the truth, of course appropriately, and not with anger, and not with disrespect, and not start pointing fingers at people in the middle of the street, calling them Rasha, 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 idol worshiper, even if they are, you still can't do that. You cannot bring yourself to sin because of your rebuke. Rebuke, but there's a way to rebuke. There's a way to do it, there's a time to do it. Don't do it in the front of a lot of people, that's just you. Then it's a general speech. But if there's a group of you, there's 20 of you, don't tell, hey, listen, you look like... That's not the way to do it. There's a time and a place to do it. Usually it's better somebody else does it, not you. Bring him to a shiur, give him a CD, send him a lecture, and so on and so forth. But if you want to do it yourself, what should I say to you? 2 things. 1, welcome to the club. 2, it's going to be a very hard life. How do I know? Read the Torah. Every single prophet had that life. Even Moshe Rabbeinu had enemies. Even Moshe Rabbeinu had enemies. And the Gemara Masechet Megillah says one of the names, there were several names for Moshe Rabbeinu. One of the names that Moshe Rabbeinu had was Goder. What's Goder? Like a fence. What's fence? He kept all of Am Yisrael in check. Don't go against Hashem. He rebuked all of them. That's one of his names, Gemara Masechet Megillah. So you see all of it, it's difficult. It's not easy. It's not easy to be the rebuker. In reality, you're going to be alone. A lot. And even your friends will eventually not be your friends so much. Why? You finally said something that affects them. It's very hard. It's very hard. I can tell you from personal experience, many of the people that I helped do tshuva in the past, I'm not in touch with them. Why? Eventually, they didn't want to hear it anymore. Not all of them, Baruch Hashem. Many people are still in touch, but there's many that I remember from the last community that I lived in. Baruch Hashem did tshuva, they started keeping this, keeping that, but eventually, they stopped coming. Why they stopped coming? Eventually, it got to a point where they didn't want to do tshuva anymore. Meaning, they kept Shabbat, they kept kosher, they kept Tarat Mishpacha, but as soon as they start talking about modesty, no more. As soon as they talk about wigs, no more. As soon as they talk about stop being stingy, no more. Whatever it was for them. Whatever it was for them, that was their line. Okay, I can't continue coming to the shiur because if I come to the shiur, I keep hearing, I have to do more tshuva. I don't want to do anymore. I'm finished. I'm enough. I keep Shabbat, I keep this, I keep this, I keep this. That's enough. They don't want to keep growing. And unfortunately, in Judaism, there's no such thing as not keep growing. It's either you keep growing or you go backwards. And many of them, unfortunately, started going backwards. Baruch Hashem, they still keep Shabbat, from what I know. But they're not growing rapidly like they used to. They're not doing everything they used to. They're not growing in a lot of ways. But such is life. It's very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I can tell you for sure, one of the biggest gifts that Hashem gave me was to make me naive when I first started this. And not realize how difficult it was. Because if I knew how difficult it was, I wouldn't do it. I'm telling you outright. If I knew how difficult it was to do kiruv, I wouldn't do it. I worked on Wall Street for almost 20 years. Built a company, made money, all the things that I went through, sickness, this, that, the other thing, employees, enemies, fighting with the government, all types of wonderful battles that I had in my life. Never had an easy life. You could ask any of the people that know me from my past, never had an easy life. This is 100 times harder. 1,000 times harder. You guys think, oh, he comes, he gives a lecture, sounds like fun. You have no idea what I have to go through just to survive the day. But that's the life. Why? I'm trying to be Yehudi. I'm trying to make it. Hopefully I make it. That's it. Anything else? So, Bezat Hashem, we ask ourselves the critical question. Next year, this technically is the end of the year. Nisan, according to the Torah, is the first month of the year. Adar is the last month of the year. Even though Rosh Hashanah is what we celebrate as the beginning of the year, according to the Torah, Nisan is the beginning of the year. Which means Adar is the last month of the year. So next year, Pesach, Nisan. Next year, meaning next month, begins the year. You have to finish off the year strong. What should be your resolution? I'll tell you what it is. Be Yehudi. Be like Mordechai. Don't be like HaMan. And Bezat Hashem, all of us will have the merit, the strength, and the siyata d'ishmaya to be like Mordechai, a Yehudi, and Esther, a Yehudiya. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.